Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
I mean, you said the word simp. I don't know. Can you elaborate on that? What do you what's a simp guy?
I'm gonna let June do that first.
A simp is a guy. It would be similar to how we'll say a woman is a pick me.
Okay.
So I guess the other side of that might be a simp, where a guy kind of caters to a woman, overly caters to a woman, regardless of whether she actually likes him or not. He feels like if he, courts her and pays for her stuff and does all these things for her, then eventually she'll like him.
Agreed.
Most times it doesn't happen that way.
Agreed.
And the times that it doesn't happen that way, the man is now labeled a simp because he did X, Y, Z to get 0.
100%.
So it's really in a situation where the feelings aren't being reciprocated. That's where a man is really considered a simp. Can a simp be a guy in his regular day-to-day relationship or in a marriage?
Yeah.
Can you have a man who's a simp who's a husband? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
I think a simp is one of the guys that usually passive when they don't say nothing when they know they should say something. I think because if you tell me right now I'm not going to say nothing to my woman because I'm not trying to argue, you could be a simp.
Okay.
Because especially if it's a situation where the elephant needs to be addressed.
Yes.
If it's a situation where you're ignoring the elephant as a man, that means you clearly are a simp because you're worried about the consequences more than actually facing the situation that needs to be handled at the moment. So if a man tells me, yo, I just let my woman win, more than likely he's a simp.
If you want the situation to be peaceful you want the situation to be peaceful more than you want it to be right,
Yes.
then you a simp.
100%.
Okay.
Because again, you worried about, that it's scary when you have to be in a relationship with somebody that you have to always park your feelings or your true opinion and let them drive every time because of the fact that when you say how you truly feel, they tend to get upset. I think that is not a healthy relationship. I think that is, you're most likely dating a narcissist because if for me to be with you or to be in a relationship, I should be very mindful of my tongue and how I say it. Because that's just a respect thing. But if I'm always reserved with how I truly feel, that means your feelings are being oppressed and that's not a healthy relationship.
But do you feel like that plays into where some people say choose your battles? Because in relationships, you have to compromise in a sense, right? So everything that can be blown out of proportion, someone has to take the higher road and say, you know what? I just don't want to turn this into an argument. And it's really not so maybe the guy being a simp. It's just him just avoiding that confrontation and just kind of keeping the peace. Right?
I do believe that a lot of times, men and women, men tend to we choose our battles better than you guys, right? And a lot of times we actually reserve things that actually bother us that we expect you guys to, when we do complain, to get right to it. Because believe you me, I think a lot of women do believe that they're more perfect in relationships than they are because men are more conscious with choosing their battles. I think women, a lot of times, being that they're emotional, they tend to always complain about things and always drag things. And men are like, yo, that ain't nothing for Def. I'm gonna let that go. I'm saying?
I think to her point, to your point where you were saying that men are more emotional now. I don't necessarily think it's men are more emotional. I think we're more emotionally aware of how we feel, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. And a lot of times we choose peace. A lot of times, even with my guys now, we talk about having peace of mind, having peace in the home and things like that. So we kind of choose our battles based on wanting that peace in the situation. Some things ain't worth it. They're not worth the fight. They're not worth the argument. We fight on Monday, by Tuesday, we don't even remember what we fought about. So it's that type of a situation when it comes to, choosing your battles. You guys want to win every battle.
Yeah.
Lose the whole war, throw the whole war away, but
Just to get your point across.
you got to play it better.
Yeah, but what he's saying is 100% right. I do believe that a lot of times, like one time I remember with my ex, I was like, when we was coming to an end, I started telling her more about herself. And she was like, where's this all coming from? I'm like, no, it's things I just reserved because I was trying to move forward. And opposed to keep fighting the problem, I realized that I'm not gonna keep constantly complaining when I know I don't wanna leave you. And I feel like it becomes toxic when you have to walk around on needles in your own home because you're always worried about a person always finding something to complain about, especially when it's things that they can fix themselves, And I've been in situations like that where you had to tiptoe around your own home.
I don't think it's a complaint. I think that, and ladies, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think that sometimes we are just tired of repeating ourselves. I think that after a while, it gets draining for us to constantly repeat ourselves, right? Whether it be telling you guys that we're, dissatisfied with something and you have to say it over and over and over. It's almost like when you're raising a child. At some point, you have an expectation for the child to comprehend and be able to carry out the lesson, right? It's like when you're training a dog. You don't expect the dog to pee in the house all the time or poop in the house all the time but it's like for you guys, for some men, it's like they never get it. We constantly have to go over things. And then you think that we're being annoying or we're being a bother or we're just complaining. But to you, it sounds like a complaint. To us, it feels like, when will you get it?
Okay, give me something that you would say right now is a situation that you think that would get overlooked and it's something that should be constantly addressed. Or just give me a scenario.
I'm just saying something simple, like maybe something that needs to be done in the house. If we say, hey, babe, I need you to fix whatever, the air conditioning. And you say, okay, I'll do it next week. Next week comes, it doesn't get done. Mm-hmm. We don't say anything. We wait another 2-3 weeks because we figure, you know what, maybe he's tired, maybe he's busy. 2-3 weeks comes, we say something, it doesn't get done. Another month, it doesn't get done. Another 2 months, it doesn't get done. I've heard some men say, oh, well, why can't you just call somebody? But no, why can't you just do it? Because if we both have a place in the home and I'm doing my job, then why can't you do yours, leader? How am I supposed, you get what I'm saying?
Why doesn't he make the call or why doesn't he fix the problem?
Either or. Why isn't this resolved? Whether you have to make a call, whether you have to do it yourself, why is it that a woman has to keep on reminding you of the things you need to do, of your place as a man, and then you get mad at us and say that we're complaining? We're not complaining. It's just draining us to constantly have to be on repeat. Nobody wants to hear a broken record. Of course it sounds annoying, but we would just like for you guys to just do your part so we just don't have to say anything.
I think a lot of times a lot of men are not as organized as women, though. I think women usually are better at those things than men. And I'm not giving the men an excuse. I'm just saying that a lot of times women are usually better, very organized, better. So a lot of times a woman is a man's natural balance. I don't think a man is a real man. We saying a real man is looking for constant hearing you complain. I think maybe that's not a priority to him. Maybe he has other things on the list, to-do list. Maybe he's drained. I don't know. But I'm just saying for him to ignore something, maybe sometimes I do believe that, and I'm going to say this on record, I do see a lot of times women do volunteer a lot of men's money. And maybe he's like, you ain't trying to put up nothing, so you always want me to spend when I'm really trying to, the little bit of money I got cash left over for myself this month, I'm trying to really enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, sometimes men do work to just provide for their family. And a lot of times, we give our last. I'm just being fair.
And it's a matter of priority, right? What you guys don't realize is you may say, okay, you got to fix the screen on the door. Let's just use that as an example.
Yeah.
But y'all forget that between y'all saying y'all got to fix the screen on the door is you got to fix the washing machine. You got to call the person about the fridge. You got to get the power washer. Whatever. I'm just using things that you guys may say. Yeah. It's not that he forgot the one thing. It's that there's another 19 things that he got to get to. He may not have got to that one thing because to get to that one thing, you might have had to get to 6 things before that.
Agreed.
But when y'all come out, yeah, because I've been talking about that damn squeaky door. You're like, wait, hold up. Like,
But we have to balance as well. So I feel like if a woman has a role where we have to be mothers, we have to go out and take on the world, just like you guys. We go out, we work, we're both paying bills, we're both, we're both supposed to be held to some level of accountability. Right. If you have an expectation of your wife or your mate, then we should have an expectation of you as well.
I agree.
If you're coming home and you're coming home to a clean house and you don't have to do much for the kids and you're coming home to dinner, then why should I constantly remind you about that screen door? Please fix it.
I'm gonna be accountable. I think you are right. I'll give you that. But I'm just being fair.
Nah, it ain't. She's not unfair.
It's not unfair.
I think oftentimes it gets caught up in the delivery.
Yeah.
Like once you guys finally get frustrated with it and you guys speak at us, now we can't even receive it properly because now it's like it's about the way you delivered it versus what you were trying to deliver.
But we never start like that though.
Right,
After a while, you get to the point where instead of talking to the person, now you feel like you're talking at them because you feel like all your efforts are in drain. You're just tired of constantly being on repeat. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
the one thing I will say though, I do believe that with a team, I think that we all have our shortcomings, and the one thing we learn is some things aren't malicious in relationships. Some things aren't intentional. Some things are neglected or not as first on your priority list because, again, sometimes you have other things going on. And he might not be as vocal about it, but he might have other things that he's prioritizing. Yeah, you're prioritizing it because it's important to you. But sometimes the same way when a man is asking a woman to do something, if it's not her priority, she tends to ignore it too.
Like what?
Like I tell you, the worst thing you can do with a woman is when you tell a woman something that some stranger telling her, and she act like she just hit the lottery with the words. And you look at her like I told you that 55 times this year. But I think that
Like
happens.
what? Give me an example. I gave you an example. Give me an example.
Let's say, like for instance, when you have a conversation with most women, I'm just being honest and fair, you can tell them truths. Like, would you say that as a woman ages, she loses value in the dating market? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
But women get mad as hell because the person say it. So like if you're saying this, a stranger say it, if I say it, I'm like, I'm wrong. And I'm like, no, I'm just telling you. This is what it is. And I'm just using it as an example. I'll give you furthering. Like we could have a conversation about anything. Like the other day I was telling a lady, she got upset with me because I told her there aren't a lot of good men out here. She agreed. And I said, so if you have a good man, I think you should stop complaining so much and try to work with your good man because you're not going to get better if you're complaining about the damn AC when he's willing to help us behind for the bills. I think sometimes we all have our shorts and it's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is, men and women.
I just don't think it's fair for anyone to tell someone what's good in their relationship. If you don't live someone's life, it's not ideal for me to say you have a good man because bills are getting paid. Wow. You know, Q, just because people are paying bills doesn't mean that the relationship is good. A relationship has so much more in it that would, you know what I mean? That would make me say it's good or bad. Like we don't get to analyze people's relationship and judge them because you think he's a good man. If she has to live with this person and deal with this person, maybe she has her issues that.
If men saying a man's a good man, he knows. Because I'm gonna tell you something, unless you got a real good male friend who gives you a lot of male advice, in most cases, men know men 10 times better than women. And reality is when a woman be like, she's looking for something and it be your man, and you be like, yo, you ain't gonna do better than him. And we be knowing. Yes. And I'm like, cause we know men. And it's only but so many different types of men. And once you see the little things that she's complaining about, I'm like, you're not gonna do much better. I'm like, because the things that you're really complaining about isn't gonna get any better. In most cases, the same with a woman. The guys, they complain about certain women. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna get any better with that, bro. Like the things you complain about aren't life or death. I do believe that there are real problems and there are problems that you make real problems. I think that we exaggerate our issues in our homes a lot of times because we've been trained to look for movies opposed to reality. If your mother and father showed you exactly all their problems, you would have a better trajectory and understanding of what a healthy or a real relationship look like.
Plus, I think it's kind of contagious, right? Where if you sit around people that are complaining, then you kind of find a way to want to contribute to the conversation. Yes. So oftentimes, if let's just say if 3 women or 4 women are sitting around talking, and only 3 of them are complaining, the 4th one might want to be like, yeah, because you know he don't slam the door when he walk out the house. You know what I mean? She doesn't do something in that wasn't that big a deal. You know, just to feel like she can't, because they don't want to be the outlier and be like, I don't know about y'all ladies, but things at home in my house are great. Yeah. Nobody really wants to do that. They want to kind of contribute their little piece, you know.
So you think a lot of women are, how do I say this? You think a lot of women are dealing with their relationship based on their homegirls? It's their homegirls' advice is based on how they go home, how they deal with whatever's happening.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Emotional people. That's why social media is so dangerous, because a lot of the times people take on the energy of social media. If you wake up and first thing you start watching negative videos, you tend to have a negative spirit for the most part of the day. So reality is anytime you're constantly hearing bickering, nagging, and complaining, you're definitely going to take on that spirit. So reality is, most cases, if you're not having someone that's giving you great advice as far as, girl, that's not that serious.
Right.
That's why grandmothers are the best people that when it comes to getting advice from a lot of times, and not your little bitter friend. Your bitter friend might hate men. Your bitter friend might be complaining because she expects something that she watched on social media. I think social media has created some of the extreme narcissistic, very emotional, unlogical people, because we are comparing our lives to people who are good at pretending. They say comparison is a thief of joy. And a lot of people are losing their joy because they're over comparing. They have too many opinions, too much access to people. So it's really hurting them in a sense of not enjoying their own homes. There are people who don't even live in their house, who too busy watching other people's houses. They don't even enjoy their own homes. They're sitting in their own home, literally on a phone, watching someone else's home. So therefore, you're already creating the problems rather than we could be working on what we got going on or what we got going on. I'm overly watching somebody else. Like, girl, they fighting again. Why you worried about Christian Rock and Lil Blueface? Who cares?
Little Blueface.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the women like safe space. I think sometimes it's finding things that are relatable. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I can't speak for every woman, but I remember one of the conversations you had where you were saying that you have a lot of married women that are taking advice from their single friends.
Yes.
Obviously, that wouldn't make any sense. Like, you're not going to take advice from someone who they're not living your life. They're not relatable. They're not in the same situation. But I think sometimes women just kind of want to be heard.
Agree.
So they search for whoever will listen.
I agree.
And
Yes.
again, if you find someone who's going through the same thing, now it's like, oh my God, like now it's even better. You get what I'm saying? So I don't always think it's being on social media, trying to live a fake life. We all know that that's not real. That it would really take a naive woman to compare her life to someone like the Kardashians or Beyonce when you know that whatever they're posting, it's not real. You know what I mean? I think it's just trying to find someone that can relate to what you're going through. And sometimes you see these things and you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
We go to the science of like logic. Men, when we look for somebody, for instance, like we're daughter fathers, right? We have daughters.
Yeah.
So realistically, he'll be one of my friends that I would ask for advice when it comes to raising a daughter. Men always look for people who relate to their situation. 9 out of 10 times, if a man is constantly complaining about his woman, he's over it because most men actually protect their woman amongst their friends. They don't like to tell bad things about their relationship until they're almost ready to leave. Men don't really tell, yo, she's this, she's that, she's that, unless you're really, really, really close to them. In most cases, men don't really tell what they're going through until you like really, really. I got a homeboy that was going through a divorce and we're close. And I didn't know till they was like damn near ready to sign the papers. You know, and I was like, damn, I never even knew. But again, he said, because he didn't want her to look bad even though they was breaking up. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really want to say anything because he wasn't sure. If a man starts talking bad about you, he's kind of sure he's ready about to leave. He's like getting to that point, right? He's ready. I think even a woman, when she's not ready, she still complains and still talks and still just complains and complains. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
I agree with that.
But like I said, you know, when we have these conversations, a lot of times people, there will always be outliers, you know, but in most cases, I do believe that women do find someone that's close to them opposed to someone that's relatable to talk about their problems to. And they usually get bad advice from that person.
Do you feel like a lot of men now are jealous of their women's success or women's success in general? Do you think a lot of men are intimidated by women that are doing well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think especially now that women are doing so much, I think statistically, I don't remember what it is right now, but statistically, women are going to college, graduating college, and having higher paying jobs than men now, to the point where now men are feeling. I've had female friends of mine say to me, I was dating a guy and he broke up with me, and I'm like, why? She's like, because he said there wasn't enough that he could do for her as a person. Yeah. He wanted to be able to do more. She already had a job that was paying her very well. She already had a house. She already had a car, and he didn't see his way into. I'm sorry.
He didn't have a car.
He had a car, but I guess he wanted to give her a car, or he wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. And I was puzzled at first, and then she explained it to me, and I was like, I guess guys do feel like that, you know?
I think so.
I find that I feel like you have a lot of men now that their attitudes have changed towards women who are doing well. I feel as though, right, when women show, me and Q have this discussion about not needing a man. I don't think it's so much of women thinking they don't need a man. I think we've let go of that codependency. I feel like years ago, we lived in a world where women didn't, you know, we didn't work. We didn't really go to college. Seeing a woman running for president or CEO of companies wasn't a thing. So I think that finally now women are educating themselves. They're running businesses. They're at the top of the top. And I think that some men kind of look at that and they really feel inferior. And it changes the way they act towards women. Yeah. And I think that's becoming a thing.
I do agree to a degree what you're saying. I do agree that there are men that are definitely like that. But I do believe that a lot of women with earning, they tend to come with a lot of aggression and mouth. So therefore, their money has become a penis. Their credibility has become a penis. So realistically, I think a lot of men sometimes don't want those kind of girls because they think that they're equivalent to men. And then the sad part is, here's the issue I have with women that make money. Men make money so we can provide for our families. Women make money so they can provide for themselves. And a lot of times when women make money, they do not have intentions with sharing 100% of their earning with a man. Let me say this. A lot of the times, I'm gonna say it again, a lot of the times when women make money, they do not have intentions on sharing everything with men. I do believe that in most cases, a man's money is hers, her money is hers. In most cases, women will not, and I say this with conviction, they will not respect men when they make a lot more money than them and she's the main provider. She will not respect them. But a man, he would take a woman who makes a lot less than him and provide for her and don't see her as in nothing less than he is. But a woman, naturally, once they earn, they see a man as beneath them, like the gum on their shoe.
I don't think that's true.
Maybe not you.
So let me ask you.
Without making myself the standard, I don't think that's true.
I disagree.
don't think it's fair to say that women are out here making money and now they're looking at a man as beneath them. I think that's how you.
No, that's
see
not what I
yourself
said. That's
when your
not what I
woman's
said.
making money.
I said when a woman is making more money. Listen to what I said. When a woman is making more money than her man, and let's just say hypothetically, a man is under her roof. He is more inclined to get kicked out, right?
Yeah, but it happens. We spoke about this. It happens. I don't think that's all the time. I don't think every woman who a man lives with her and she gets into an argument with him, she's going to tell him to get out. I don't think it's going to happen all the time.
9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times. And you know why we know it? Because at the end of the day, no man coming to you and say, my girl kicked me out. Men amongst men will tell us the truth. I have a business that happens to have a lot of men coming in and out of the store. And they all said, if any of them have moved with a woman, they've all been kicked out. Shit, most of us been kicked out by our own mothers. Our mothers get mad and tell us we can get the hell out. So we've heard that since we was kids. You know, my mom told us get out since we was kids. So I'm just saying, in most cases, a woman is not going to see him as a partner when she's making a lot more than him. She's not going to see him as a partner.
I disagree.
I got a question for you. In your history of histories, you know, having conversation with your girlfriends and whatnot, has there ever been a time where you guys felt like if I made a bunch of money and I was with a man, I'm gonna hold him down? No. Has that ever been a conversation piece?
No.
Has that ideology ever been a conversation piece?
That is diabolical.
I'm gonna hold him down. Yeah, if I made more money than him.
Say he makes 50, you make 250.
I mean, if you're talking about me and my friends,
just
I feel
in
like
general.
I've always held my man down. I feel like my husband is on here, talking right now, commenting. He can't say that I don't hold him down. There's been times where I made more money. There's been times where he made more money.
Right.
If we need things to be done, we're going to do things that get things done. I'm not that person.
Can you do me a
I
favor?
can't speak for everyone.
Can you do me a favor? Let's remove Shay.
Right.
Let's talk. Hold on. When we talk, remember, you see my household is very healthy, right? But when we talk in general, as far as more than likely. More women are less likely to do that. More women is not making more money to say, I want to help take care of a man.
But you're not going to get me to say more women do that. That's not fair.
No,
I can't say that, whether I take myself out.
I wasn't asking you to say more or less. It wasn't about statistics.
Right.
What I'm saying is when a man is growing up, as we're there's a bunch of men in this room. When men are growing up, the idea is to grow up, to be successful, to make a bunch of money so that he can support his family, his wife, his kids, his dog, whoever, his auntie, his grandmother, whatever, so that he can support the family structure. Has there ever been a time in your chats, whether it be in high school, college, at the job, in the coffee room, whatever, has there ever been an ideology of anyone to say that when I make this money, I'm gonna hold down my husband?
Take care of a man.
No. You're right about that. No, that's not a conversation that generally women have. You're right, because of how we were brought up. It's what men are taught, right, to be providers. We don't sit around and say, oh my God, I can't wait to make money so I could take care of my man. That's not a thing that we're talking about. But I mean, regardless of what, I still can't say that
proved my
women
point.
won't hold their men down if they need to.
I think that's
We will.
that's
if
on
we
a
need to.
situation.
If I love you and you
Reluctantly,
love
no?
me, and we working together as a union, whether it's husband and wife, boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, why wouldn't I hold you down if you need me to hold you
not-
down? Like,
not-
what y'all think women are?
I would like to know that.
I don't like the way y'all talk about women. We're not doing this.
I don't mean it in a
I would like to
negative
believe
way.
it's true, right?
We're not doing this.
I would like to be right. If you have a room full of men, and they tell you that the room is smoking, and you say it ain't no fire in there, that means you're just ignoring what reality is, right? If everybody's saying it's smoke in the room, all the men have said the same thing. It's been a consistent debate and argument that any time a man can't provide, he is looked at as less of a man. If we're all saying that, and the one woman who tends to believe, I'm not like that, but every man that's dated, none of us in the room dated the same women. I would like to believe nobody mess with my joints. You've been outside.
Nah.
I'm being funny. But I'm just saying, Kevin Garnett. What I'm just saying. Look, but I'm just saying, in no case have I ever heard a man who makes not a lot of money tell me that when I walk in the house, she receives me as the king and the man that I am. I think a man has to buy that role in most cases from women. They don't see him that way. And I'm just being fair to myself. And I'm not gonna lie to myself and say, I can find that magical woman. In most cases, most women aren't like that. There are women that can be like that. But I would like to be the fly on the wall and see how she talks to him when she upset. Call him everything other than his name.
And how she referred to him in that group chat.
What?
So what about the
Say
men?
that again?
Or how she refers to him in that group
Okay,
chat.
but what about the men that make money? What about the men that make money and they talk down to their women? What's the difference? You have the same thing, vice versa. If the roles are reversed, you have some men that do the same. But they
Agreed.
make
But
money
the
and they talk
difference
to
is
women.
the difference with that
ish.
conversation is this: more men that make money take care of their kids and family.
I'm sorry, say that again.
More men, when they make money, their objective is to take care of their families. Are there men that use their money against the women? Yes. Those are very weird men. But
Weird man.
there are a lot of men who don't behave like that, who take care of their family and they bring everything to the table. But I'm saying in most cases, it will be a lot more disrespect in the house when a woman is carrying the man, by far. By far. I do
Y'all
believe
be out
it's-
here taking care of y'all families and the other family y'all created outside too.
Wow.
Why you say y'all?
Let's not get it twisted.
Wow. Why you say
I mean, because you're talking for men, so you are one. So I'm saying y'all. You might be having multiple families to take care of. That's why y'all got to make that money.
That is crazy.
Diabolical.
talking about?
But is that a case that it happens? Yes. It happens. There are men like that.
With side families?
Yeah.
It's like, what you mean?
I'm not gonna lie.
There are
Yeah.
men like that. Like, it don't happen
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
It happens a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
It happens a
Yeah.
lot. Y'all got to make that money because y'all got a lot of kids to provide for.
He's a fool.
In and out of the family.
Insane.
But I will say this though, and the issue I have is when you, like, I have cousins, I have female cousins, I have moms, I have family members, and every time I've ever seen a woman that dated a guy that didn't make more money than her, she always disrespected him. And I'm not gonna make myself the standard, but what I'm saying is, after having so many constant conversations, it's too much smoke in the room to ignore that there's a fire.
It always starts out good, right? It starts out where it's like, he has so much ambition, he has a plan, he wants to do these things, and I'm gonna support him as he does these things. And as time goes on,
Get
and the relationship
diabolical.
gets kind of weird, it's like, broke ass nigga, and he don't got no money, and I gotta pay for this, and I gotta pay for that,
Yep.
and we can't go on no vacations.
So let me ask you this. Why do you think most men
we can't
are
do what?
privy
We
to
can't go
date?
on no vacations.
Why do you think most men are privy to date potential, but women aren't? What is it about?
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because men look for respect. Men don't go with it tolerate, they go with it celebrated. So a man, if he's being celebrated and she's giving him the level of respect that he loves, he's more inclined to take her serious. A man will leave a 10 for a 5 if the 5 makes him feel like the king that he feels like he is.
100%.
In reality, a woman will take disrespect and verbal abuse from a man who is financially secure. A man will leave financial security for a woman that is less financially secure for respect. Women will sell their respect. Not all, but more women will sell their respect because you'll see situations where a woman is being physically harmed from a guy that makes money. But you'll never keep seeing a bunch of men I never met a man who was getting physically abused or verbally abused by a girl that's taking care of him financially. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Damn. It's just what it is. I do know women in my family that would date a guy that make a lot of money and get disrespected every time they turn around because of his money. Because I do believe that women a lot of times overvalue finances more than life itself. They value money.
Even when y'all describe your friends, right? So, you know, sometimes you may have that single friend, right? And you're like, I don't know why she's single. She's a good girl. You know, she make XYZ amount of money. She the this of her company. She's that of her company. She got 35 degrees. But you didn't factor in. You may not know how she is with the man.
Yes.
You know, she could be a totally other person with that man and make the man feel smaller than what he needs to feel.
Yes.
So oftentimes when, you know, it comes up and it's like, you talk about your girl getting cheated on. And it always comes up as like, yo, she got cheated on and you should see the girl he cheated on her with.
Yes.
That's the first statement they make, right? You should see the girl he cheated on her with. But it doesn't matter how the girl look, because the girl might have licked his nasty toes, the same toes you was complaining about for the last 15 years.
That's right.
You know, it's more about peace. It's more about, you know, being celebrated. It's more about my presence being a present when I come to a place.
Yes.
So it ain't always about, you know, my girl has 35 degrees and she makes 180,000 if she make me feel like I made $6,000
and I'm trash.
Yeah, or I'm
not good
nobody.
enough.
You know, or I'm sitting on the couch like Al Bundy. You know, don't treat me like that, you know?
I agree.
So in that same regard of how you said that, let's go back to what Q said at the beginning of the conversation. Okay. Who are we to judge a relationship of now when a woman decides that she doesn't want to deal with whatever she doesn't want to deal with anymore?
I respond.
Why is it that we say, oh, but he's a good man? You just said, listen, we'll take a girl who's this, I'll leave her for a girl who's a 6 or whatever, whatever you guys are judging that based on, and for whatever reason that you're leaving, because you're not, something is not being fulfilled of what you want. Mm-hmm. So why is it that when a woman does the same thing that we're judged differently, but when you guys do it, it's for my respect?
A lot of times y'all are
she's licking my toes.
No, because a lot of times y'all the things y'all complain about in relationships are very superficial and shallow. And a lot of the things that y'all complain about in relationships are very superficial and shallow. And a lot of them are very, very, very glass half empty. And when you look at it, you listen to it, it's like, yo, the things that you're really complaining about, it's normal for day-to-day relationships. And I tell people all the time, if you go sit with a person that's been in a long-term relationship, they're gonna say the relationship is only as good as much as you can tolerate. There is no perfect relationship. You have two imperfect people coming into a relationship, it's always going to be imperfect. The only issue when a relationship is unhealthy, when it's unbalanced. Meaning the love is not being reciprocal, the respect is not being reciprocal. For instance, I tell a man he has to control his hands. Why? Because that's what a man does when he's angry. He uses his hands, right? A woman has to learn how to control her mouth. If a woman is not reciprocating the fact that he's not putting his hands on you when you're saying things that's diabolical, then there's a problem there. Right? Just because you're angry, you can't justify anger. When a person talks like that, that means they lack emotional maturity and they're very childish. Because again, if he gets mad and talking about, I had to go upside her head, I'm like, fam, you wildin'.
Right. You can't
and the girls don't do that with each other. Girl, you should not be talking to no man like that. You can tell him what you're mad at, but you don't have to call him about tell him all the things that's other than what his name is because you're trying to prove a point. That's a lack of emotional maturity. And that's a very, 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 very sick, because our culture has been accustomed to that for so long. We normalize that thinking, where verbal abuse is normal, and that's sad. And in order to break that mentality is women got to tell each other like, yo, the same way he controls his hands, you should control your mouth. And if you can't control your mouth, you should be left out of a relationship, period. You should be single. And a man that can't control his hands shouldn't be in a relationship either. That is sick.
But Q, you hear how a lot of men talk to women too.
Agreed.
Y'all have mouths too on y'all, the way y'all describe women.
Agreed.
This bitch, this, that. A lot of y'all don't have respect for women either.
I agree.
So let's just call it what it is. It goes both ways.
But I will say this though, a lot of times men don't go low for blows when a woman is in that argument. Men go low blows when a woman drags it. I'm gonna be honest with you, from my experience of seeing men and women argue, and believe you me, I'm ever from the hood, I've seen it 1,000 times, and then I'm living in a better area. A lot of times, women learn things about men and they use it against them in the most vulnerable moment. And it's sad that this man can't be vulnerable with his woman because he's worried about hearing it back in an argument. And the sad part is you're using it at the most vulnerable moment. And I'm gonna be fair and honest. I do believe that men do corny things. Maybe like, you know what, I ain't paying no more, but that's corny. At the end of the day, that's your job, that's your role. Whether in anger or not, pay the damn bills. Be responsible. Don't change or negate your responsibility because of your feelings, right? But I do believe that a lot of times women aren't honest with themselves when it comes to how they talk to men. I think it's crazy. I think it's 100% crazy. And we've normalized this thinking. And it's scary because, again, if you say it, oh my God, then you shouldn't date women like that. I think most
men
women
talk
are like
crazy
that.
too. I think
they
men talk
defending
to
themselves. They
women,
get
not
tired
all
of
the
it.
time. I think. What do you mean defending
I ain't gonna
yourself?
lie, I get mad.
You think the only situation where men are disrespectful to women is when you guys are defending yourself?
No.
You don't think
I
there's
think
some
there are
men
men.
that
There are
come
men.
at women
There are men like that.
crazy or talk about their
Yes.
women crazy?
But I bet you if you go sit down and peel back that layer, you're gonna see that his mother was like that.
Here we go. So it all comes back to a woman. It's a woman's fault.
What I'm saying is, look, stay with me, stay with me. Every man I've ever met, like a real man, yo, these guys are very tolerable. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yo, they're very quiet and calm, very reserved. Yo, the rule, when I used to think that it was soft when a man said happy wife, happy life. It took me to my 40th year to understand what that even means. Sometimes not saying nothing is saying a lot. Because you rather reserve the relationship than go extremely to the argument because you know it's not gonna go nowhere. So when he say happy wife, happy life, he's saying, yo, just it's not that serious, right? If she thinks she won and that's what she cares about, then let her feel like she won. But at the end of the day, it doesn't, because it's not that serious. But if you're trying to prove your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend wrong or right, that means you're a kid. Because it's not about being wrong or right, it's about growing. And if you're trying to be right, that means you can't grow because your mind
is... You said a man like that is a simp. Now you're saying that
we said
with the
picking
woman,
and choosing battles. When I said when a man don't never approach situations and blocks out situations, that's a simp. There are situations we said that we don't say anything about because it's not life or death. It's not that serious. That's a simp. What I'm saying is when a man, sometimes we're like, you know what?
Especially if she ain't your lady.
Who hurt you? I need to meet the woman who hurt you. I want her on this podcast. We need to talk to her.
You know what's sad about women? I'm going to be fair to you. I can't stand that anytime a man express his feelings, we either hurt, we're a woman hater, we're a narcissistic pig, you're everything other than what you are.
But you just
let me finish this. I have a great relationship. My woman makes great money. We have a great home. We do really what it does. I have a great relationship. But what I'm going to say, because we own it, but I'm just saying I have a great situation.
Right.
But the reality is I am advocating for people that don't. And the reason why I'm advocating for is because there are a lot of black people who don't have anything. We're building less and less value because the fact of the matter is we're not addressing the elephants that's in the room. Black women are very verbally abusive, right? We're just gonna call it what it is. There are a lot of men who don't have examples of great men, so they don't know how to be men. And we gotta fix that. So the men that's running from their children, step your game up. Step your goddamn game up. But the reality is a lot of these men don't have great examples of men. I can show you 1,000 good women I grew up seeing, but I can't show you 1,000 good men. And the men that I do know, a lot of them play basketball or sports. But I didn't know doctors and professionals and lawyers where I'm coming from. Most of us come from bad environments. So the bad environment is being the reflection of a good man is how many women you can get, how many women you can sleep with. And you have to learn that is wrong. So imagine telling somebody this is your ideology, this is your thinking, you thinking. Now you wake up at 30, 40 years old, and this is what you thought was normal. And now you're like, damn, I'm trying to figure out why am I like this, and this is not right. And a lot of times you talk about men that you're a one-sided way. Everything is one-sided. So the things that you do to women, like for instance, I used to think that cheating was only a man's thing. I used to think that was normal. And it's not because I grew up thinking that, I was taught that. I was literally taught that, bro. But again, how do you change that mentality when that mentality was trained to you? It was taught to you. People in the hood ain't hood because they want to be hood. They were taught to be hood. You're taught certain behaviors that you don't know any better about. And you have to unlearn bad behaviors. Just like women need to learn how to control their mouths and can't justify anger. Because a lot of times you mess up good relationships with the way you speak. Because again, that man's spirit could be shot. I mean, men whose spirits are shot. They don't want to do nothing for their woman. I'm like, that's crazy. Yo, she talks to him like a dog. And then you want me to go do something for you. I'm being honest. I've seen it 1,000 times my whole life. Now, how many men we got in here? Have you seen that your whole life growing up? I want you to say it on the mic.
Hopefully this thing is on. But yeah, all my life I've seen it. And I come from a two-parent family. So I've seen my parents argue, when early in the relationship, when they were first married. I've seen my mother talk down to my father, and I see my father react in anger. But at the same time, it comes with experience. That's what, to go back to what you were saying, men are reacting like they're sensitive. No, it's not sensitive. It's called experience. Some of us grew up seeing things, like, all right, what to do, what not to do. Women could... a woman could lash out on a guy and make a guy feel so small just by her words. But
especially when you love him.
it's a both. It goes both ways. Men do stupid things. Women do stupid things. It's just all about teamwork. That's what you got to do. And I'm seeing the comments. I'm like, women are trying to attack you because you're speaking truth. But at the same time, all you have to do is put your emotions aside. Fine. I understand females are more emotional based creatures. That's how God created them, and God created us to be not more. I don't want to say logic, but away from our emotions. It's all about teamwork. That's what a relationship is all about. Stop attacking each other. That's it.
You know what's scary about being owning a business where you deal with young, middle-aged, and older people? Mm-hmm. When you sit down with younger guys and they say, yo, Q, in order for me to be in a relationship, I got to have so much finances and do so much financially. And on top of it, I got to be basically emasculated by the woman I say that I love when she gets angry. And you hear that so much. And as a black man, it's disappointing. Because it's like, damn, I can't even tell this young man to get married or push him to be married unless he's going to be emasculated. It's like it's normal. It's like it's so normal. Believe you me, I can find more women that haven't been hit by a man, and I can find way more men who's been emasculated by women. I can find way more. And you know it and we both know it.
And now with social media, it's even more popular, more prevalent.
Yes.
It's for a woman to be like, oh, he didn't buy me this, he's a brokey. He didn't send me a car service, he a brokey. He didn't take me to this restaurant, but instead he took me to that restaurant, he a brokey. So now...
See that foolishness? No real man can be emasculated. That's cap. Once a man gives you his heart and his emotions, he can be emasculated. Because once he's vulnerable with you, you can emasculate him. Why? Because I told you certain things. For instance, let's say hypothetically, my dad is a very sensitive topic for me. And then the moment I get, and this is very sensitive, trauma is moments that you've experienced, and I might have been vulnerable and expressed it to you, that if you say it to me in a vulnerable moment, it could really hurt. So for instance, I've learned certain things about him, and as soon as I get mad, that's why your dad was a bum. Like, damn. Yeah. And you raising two boys. I pray to God they don't experience. But the chances are, if we don't fix it, they more than likely will. Get called out their names because they're imperfect as everyone on earth is. They're going to be called out their names.
But you know what I think is very unfair about you, Q? And I say this because you're my brother, you're my friend, and I love you. But I think that why I said who hurt you is I think that week after week when I sit on this podcast and we talk, I listen to you just kind of rip women apart. And it's all the things that we don't do, what we need to do, how we make men worse, how we not this, how I'm being honest.
Nobody
Guys,
got that.
women, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men here. I'm here by myself defending us.
Put that clip up.
I just feel like when you say things of, you know, these are the things that we do that make men this, that make men that, don't you think it's a two-way street though? Don't you think it goes both ways? Don't you think that there's some things that you guys say that make us the way we are, the way you speak to us, the way you deal with us with men? We're tired of men cheating on us. There's so many things that women are tired of as well that make us the way we are.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be fair and honest with you. Fair as possible.
Oh, God.
If a man will take a woman that's broke, that means he genuinely loves her. If a woman only wants a man who has money, that means she's a brokey.
But a lot of women take broke men too, Q.
Because they have no choice. Because their options,
they have no choice.
Their options aren't what they're verbalizing with their mouth.
You don't think there's some women that love men that take them too?
Most cases,
that's not fair to say.
if she can get a rich man, she's gonna get a rich man. If she hasn't had a rich man, it's because she's not rich man material. It's just what it is.
Okay.
If a person always had trash jobs because their resume ain't good enough, it's just what it is.
Okay.
So if she keep getting bad jobs, that means her resume ain't that. She could think she's a 12, but she could be a 2. There's a lot of people that think they put on a wig and makeup and they think they fire. Yeah, you okay? I'm lying? You okay? But we have to see you without that. So reality is you are who you look like without that. You're not who you are when you put that on. But I'm just gonna say this, respectfully, and you know the lady said this the other day at the shop, the lady that works in the shop, she said, Q, it's crazy. She said, how come? She said, one thing I've learned about you men, y'all sit there and y'all really have real heart-to-heart conversations. She said, the moment I do this with a woman, they're gonna shut my shop down. She said she could never be honest. The way y'all honest and how raw y'all are, she said, I've noticed anytime men are honest, this is what she said, women cannot take it. They take it as it is an attack. They take it like you're disrespecting them. No, because it's coming from a man's mouth. The reason why a lot of women have problems is because they're not advocating the truth. They're not telling these women like, yo, girl, you shouldn't have that on. Y'all go read the comments of somebody doing something weird. Go read it right now. Them girls be in the comments advocating for the person to continue the behavior. Continue the behavior. You got a man online twerking and you talking about some get him girl. Go read the comments. Go read the comments. But again, you advocate for the lie. This girl is 500 pounds and shouldn't be wearing something, but yet and still y'all gonna lie to her. And yet and still allow her to continue this poor behavior. A man gonna be like, yo, listen, that's my bro. Yo, bro, I don't think you should be doing that. I don't think you should be doing that, bro. But again, now it's called body shaming. A woman call a man broke, her telling him the truth. A man calling a woman fat, that's body shaming. A man calling a woman a gold digger is nothing, but a woman calling a man short, it's nothing. It's like, yo, come on, we got to make up our mind. If you're going to throw shots, make sure you can take the rocks that come back. If you're going to throw something, make sure you can take it when it comes back. You can't throw and then hide your hand. Nah, we're going to tell the truth. I'm advocating for the men because I'm a man, and I'm just telling you what I experienced.
Let me ask you a question. Since you're listening and you feel like Q is tearing women threads. In your opinion, what would be your advice to your younger self, maybe your 18-year-old self, maybe 21-year-old self? What would be your advice as a young woman at that point as to how to deal with men? Knowing what you know now, what would be your advice to your younger self about how to deal with men?
I mean, I don't know how to deal, but I would definitely say take things slow. You know what I mean? Get to know the person that you're getting involved with. Sometimes I think as women, we kind of dive in head first. We put our trust in men a little too quickly. Mm-hmm. We go with the representative before we know exactly who that man is. Mm-hmm. Whatever some men show is what we go for, and we don't really take the time to really, get to really dissect and peel off all the layers. So I would just tell myself, take it slow, get to know who you're getting involved with before you get so deep involved that it's hard to come out, because that's when we end up having babies, out of wedlock, and it is what it is at that point. So how
about I'm sorry to cut you off. Mm-hmm. How about the communication aspect of that? You know what I mean? From the way you are now to the way you were then, what would your advice be communication-wise? How to get to a man's heart? How to make a man feel safe and loved and feel like his home is his sanctuary? Mm-hmm. What would your advice be to that younger person from what you've learned thus far?
I definitely think communication is key. I think that as women, sometimes, yes, we can listen more. We can be a little softer sometimes. I think we kind of jump too quickly, but I think that's because of men. We're so used to sometimes being put down. We don't feel appreciated. We feel like sometimes some women feel like nothing they do is enough. Sometimes we feel like men don't appreciate all the work we put in, all the time we put in. Sometimes we build our men up to go watch them enjoy live in the castle with somebody else. Sometimes you have women that come bitter because of a lot of things that they've been through, a lot of things that we've been put through by our own men. I saw someone on here saying that's why we date white women. That happens too.
Wow.
You'll struggle with a man and then go watch him just live in the kingdom with another woman, and you help to build that man. That builds up anger in a lot of black women, because we are here with y'all through struggles. I know a lot of black women who hold their men down through everything. They hold their king down, and all they want is just to feel appreciated too. All they want is to just feel respected too. You have a lot of our black men that are out here making babies all over, that are out here cheating left and right.
It's the second time she mentioned it. It must be hot topic.
Because I feel like we're expected, black women are just expected to be strong. We're just expected to deal. And if we're not dealing, we're angry, we're bitter. I hear people on here, the men saying things, because if I'm not in agreement, if I'm not in congruence with what you're saying, then I'm bitter. I'm not bitter. I've gone through things just like you've gone through things. So I feel like it's my right to speak based on what I've been through, but I can't talk about what every woman has been through. I'm not every woman. I'm not Whitney Houston. So I can't talk about everything that every woman's been through. I could talk about my experience. And from my experience, there are a lot of amazing black women out there. And there are a lot of men that bring us down, put us down, and make us feel like shit. And we act the way y'all make us feel too. We act off of how y'all make us feel.
Okay, let me say.
Man, where's the whiskey?
I do. First of all, let me acknowledge what you said is true. And when you look at the comments, and this is what you have to understand, you could have somebody that's sitting at home right now. There could be a man who has absolutely nothing, talking about this girl is wrong. You got to know, this is social media. You have a woman right now who could have 5 baby daddies talking about she know her worth. Like, you just got to look at logic. So again, you can't get mad when anybody can hide behind a screen and be who they are. In real time, they're not who they are. And it's just what it is. So I don't take comments personal, because again, the people that usually hit dogs holler. So when they're hollering, it's because they're a hit dog. They heard something that triggered something in them. You can't tell me at 45 and having a bunch of children, you want the highest value man. No, you can say, I want a man that loves me and gonna respect me and appreciate me. Then that makes sense. But you talking about, oh, you want the highest value woman after you done got 17 baby mothers, and like, that don't make no sense. But again, if you talk like that, you're the problem. But I'm like, but again, we just talking logical. Most men that have built their lives up are not looking for a woman with a bunch of children. But if I say that, I'm a problem because there's somebody sitting on the live that got a bunch of kids. It's just what it is. And I'm like, when you say these things, I'm like, it hurts, but maybe you're not ready for this level of maturity and maybe you should move on to something that's gonna give you a lot of fluff. Because I don't fluff nothing. I tell it straight as what it is. And if a person gonna say, oh, he's wrong, he's this, and I'm like, because you're not ready for the truth. With maturity comes honesty. When you still have to lie to survive in a space, that means I'm in the wrong space. And if it's bothering you guys and it's hurting your feelings, you can't sit there and say, oh, because a real man would have, ain't no real man chasing you. Maybe you need to work on yourself. Ain't no real woman, like, yo, you can't talk bad about real women when you haven't become a real man. Like, we just talking logical. But again, I say the truth, but a lot of people get offended. So I don't get hyped when somebody agree with me, and I don't get hyped when they don't agree with me. It is what it is. I'm going to speak how I feel. And a lot of times, there are a lot of black women, what you said, where they hold their man down. I agree with that. But the fact of the matter is, when you take something that's clearly not very common, it's more women that's looking for men that they can get from opposed to they can give to these days. And sometimes we do got to talk about age because age comes experience, right?
Age does come experience.
So sometimes you have a 55-year-old woman like, well, you got to, I'm like, yo, you 55. You shouldn't even entertain this conversation. We know who we talking to. We know who we talking to.
So the way you said that after a certain age and with kids, women lose value, do you feel like men lose value at all?
Men lose value when they haven't built themselves up. Men gain value as they elevate themselves and do better. Why you can say that clearly? Because you can see a 65-year-old woman with a 35-year-old man. I mean, a 65-year-old man with a 35-year-old woman who's fire. As long as he builds his life up, women gonna still chase behind him. Because he provides a main factor in security.
You know, it's always context, right? Because you could look at a man and say, oh, he's 35 years old. Or you could say something like, he's a millionaire and he's only 35 years old, right? And then you could look at another person and be like, he live at home and he's 35 years old. It all depends on the context and the situation. So with men, as the question you asked was, do men lose value as well? They do lose value as well, but it depends on their financial status because everything is already assumed, right? We had a conversation in the barbershop the other day, and I was saying to one of the guys, I was saying, most times it doesn't really matter what the woman makes, as long as she makes enough to survive on her own or to hold it down if something were to happen to me. But it doesn't really matter. We don't look around and say, yo, I just met some baddie at the bar and she make $180,000.
No talk like that.
Nobody cares because we already know that as the man, we still got to do the heavy lifting in the relationship.
Yes.
We already know that we got to pay for the dinners. We already know that we got to pay for the vacations. We already know that we got to hold it down on Valentine's Day. Not to say that y'all aren't expected to do something like that on our birthdays and Valentine's Day, but we know that as the man in the relationship, we still got to do the heavy lifting. So oftentimes, you know, it comes down to our financial situation in any age, you know what I'm saying? But just if we're just talking, you know, oranges to oranges, if a man is 55 and a woman is 55, then the value of the man doesn't depreciate as much as the value of the woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because she may not be as fit as the 35-year-old that we might be looking at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And most times, not most time, but a lot of times, women who are 55 may not want to date a man that's 55. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because men may look differently. So
but do you think that's subjective
you know why that's
to if they're both making a lot of money? So you feel like a woman who's 55 making a ton of money, then her value won't depreciate so much because now she's in the same ballpark as a 55-year-old man who's making a lot of money.
What I would say to that is this. Most times a man wouldn't want to date a woman who's 55, whether she has money or not, to hold him down. Why? Because she's already stuck in her ways, and she's typically inflexible at that age.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She's learned too much. She's seen too much. She's done too much.
Yes.
To bend to a man's will at that point.
Yes.
So you want a woman to bend to your will. That's the kind of woman you're looking for?
No, that's not what we're saying. Is if a woman is single for a certain period of time and she's 55 years old, she's pretty much stuck in her ways, right? She's been paying her bills on her own. She's been paying her mortgage. The house probably paid off, whatever her circumstance is.
Kids in college,
But, right.
born.
So she just wants a partner, a companion to do certain little things with. She's not looking to really mesh in a sense with somebody. So in that point, it wouldn't be to our benefit or to a younger man's benefit to get with her because she can't mesh to him. She could probably teach him a bunch of stuff. She could probably be a little sugar mama, but she's not gonna be in
So you don't think you're a sugar daddy at 55 to a 25-year-old?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what is a 55-year-old man looking for when he's looking for a younger woman?
Fun.
Are you looking for, it's just fun.
Fun, curves, and blocks.
Are you looking for someone who you can kind of like, I don't want to use the word bully, but you feel like you can,
You can mold and
But-
mesh.
yeah, you
But
can
can I ask
mold
a question?
into what
Yes.
you,
Can I ask you
wait,
about a question?
hold on, Q. You can mold her into what you want her to be.
You can mold her
She's going to
into-
respect your money more than she respects you, but you're okay with that because that's what you're looking
But
for anyway. Is that how it works?
They use this term like when a woman says that, right? It bothers me
Says
that,
what?
like what you just said. You basically saying when they look for younger, basically you calling it like grooming. That's what you're calling it.
Yeah,
But
that's
when y'all, but
degrading.
y'all don't see that's what it sounds like.
Right.
But when y'all look for men with money, y'all don't see it as gold digging, which is crazy. It bothers me when I hear this.
I never
Every time,
said
no,
that,
I'm just
though.
saying when
You're just-
women always say that an older guy is trying to get a younger girl for grooming. But when a woman is looking for a man who is complete with his finances in his journey, y'all don't see that as
That's
gold
not what
digging.
I said. That's not what this was about.
No,
I
I'm just saying.
asked
I
him a
just said
question
in
based
general,
off
but
what he
women don't
said.
see that though.
Right.
The only reason why women lose value as they get older is because they're born with value. Man has to earn their value. A man is not looked at as a man if he don't have anything. So that's the only reason why a man gains value as he get older. Men don't. They're not born with value. I have never seen a woman can come out of the womb. Her youth is her value. And that's the most prominent time that she really has to get the highest value of man that she can get. And it's just what it is because she's less, tainted, touched. Men do care about those things. And again, if you're not looking at, we're talking about, you're not losing value as an individual. You're losing value to the partners that you're looking for.
To the marketplace.
To the marketplace of dating.
Yes, to the
At
marketplace.
first, you can think they're 100.
Yes.
But again, like I said, when a person is agreeing or disagreeing, go look at their situation. You're 65 talking about something, I'm waiting for Mr. or Mrs. Right. And that's the problem. It's because you're not understanding how to capture your prey. If you want a certain type of person, you got to be a certain type of person. It's just what it is. A man looking for a younger woman, again, as he said, he built himself up. He's not looking for no...
Somebody said men lose value when their funds are low.
It's the truth. He just said that.
Very, very, very true.
It's the truth.
Very true.
But women lose
Very
value
true.
as they get older and get stubborn and stuck in their ways.
Indeed.
It's the same thing.
I think a lot of men with money present themselves that way to women and get mad when women take you for exactly how you presented yourself. You presented yourself like you were sugar daddy. You presented yourself like you were going to fly her out,
Very
take her to
true.
all these fancy restaurants, buy her this, do that, and then get mad when she treats you that way. She treats you like this is a transactional relationship because you
agree with
presented
her.
yourself like,
Yes.
listen, I could do this, I could buy that.
Agreed.
That's how you showed up to her.
Agreed.
So
Yes.
why are you mad because she's taking you at the value that you gave? This is how you showed up. I'm just saying. And please don't go off topic. Don't come
not.
talking about
I'm
women.
not.
I'm asking
No.
you a question. Why do men get mad when a woman is taking you for
I don't think they have a
exactly
right to
how
get
you
mad
presented
because
yourself?
you presented yourself financially. And the only reason why men go so hard to present themselves financially is because the world don't see them if they don't. So I can understand why a man lies. Just like the same way a woman put on makeup. That's a lie too. Or show her body all over the internet. It's the same thing. You're looking for attention. The men know they don't get attention if they're not seen financially. If they're not looking like they can provide security, they're not looked at as, they're not gonna get even looked at. I'm just being honest with you. I know good guys who would be great men, but these women don't even look their way. Because
At
again, they said most women are in line for like 20% of the men. 80% of men get no action, no nothing. Nothing. Believe you me, you got more dudes on
80% of men?
PS5. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think
Wow.
like 80.
Wow.
They don't be getting no, bro, think about this. When you were in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only using high school as a scenario. You had the popular guys, right?
Okay.
You had the middle guys.
Okay.
And you had the nerd guys.
Right.
In today's society, you have more nerd guys because they lack more experience. More younger guys now are not lit as when we were growing up.
And they
don't have no experience.
They're not interactive. Right?
They scared to talk to people. They scared to
You
even
lit, you lit
approach.
online, but you're not lit in person. Like you
Yes.
can't have a conversation.
Yes. Y'all was just saying that the other day. Men don't approach like that no more. They don't even have the confidence. They got more, there's a video that went viral where the guy is saying to somebody help me find her, and she's standing in front of him. She's standing in front of him. Somebody help me find her. She's standing in front of him. If that's not the weirdest thing on earth, June like, Q, get me her Instagram. She's right there.
But outside of you saying the dating world sucks because women have expectations, unrealistic, and they think that blah, 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 something is better out there, blah, blah, blah. What are some other reasons why you really think right now it's so hard to date? And we're talking about for realistic men and women who are just working hard, looking for somebody, whatever the situation is. Why do you think it's so hard
What age group?
for men to meet good women or for women to meet good men?
What age group?
I'll tell you why.
I don't know, a typical, I'm not going to go 20s because that's young. So let's say 35 or 30 and up, where it's hard to really find a good mate. Outside of, please, Q, do not talk about women have unrealistic expectations of men.
Because average people have been on social media so long that they think average is corny. You have a bunch of average people who think they're better than average. Social media has created something called the main character syndrome, where everybody feels like they're the main character and they deserve the best of the best and they want filet mignon. And you got people that go to a restaurant before you can eat, they got to do a video of the food before they could eat.
Yes.
Where they get that from? Celebrities. Where people, they walk into a room and feel like they're this and that. Like, come on, social media. You're not Khloe Kardashian. But again, it's social media. It's killing the people. There's a video for Super Bowl that showed them in LA and everybody just standing around. They just standing around. Nobody's even having fun anymore.
Everybody's on their phone.
Yes.
Yes.
You sit in a spot right now, as soon as the camera come out, everybody, oh yeah, we late. But then they go back to normal.
But that's what I
saying?
expect. I'm saying like meeting people in terms, what would be your advice to, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about going out to eat and, video recording the food. I'm saying
real people who don't care about social
where
media.
Where are people going to meet now? When you're single and you're looking to meet someone, where are people finding these people? Like, where do you go to have a good... And someone said it, like men, I feel like a lot of men are just looking for women to chase them down.
I like women that don't post their body. That's my favorite. I tell men all the time, once a woman is showing her body a lot, believe you me, she's extremely looking for attention.
I think...
You know what I'm saying? And then you can say, no, would you agree with that?
Yes.
I'm being honest.
I think it's hard for...
Check a page.
I think it's just hard in general for people to meet people, but for people to meet intentional people that they want to date and that want to date them, I don't even know, like maybe brunches and day parties and things like that. Not really clubs, but like maybe like brunches and referrals and, that type of thing. I don't necessarily know where you'd find somebody, because everything is so fluffy now. Everybody's so, like you were saying, everybody's stuck on IG and what looks good and who's lit on IG. It's hard to figure out where to meet somebody in person. And now that everybody's kind of home, like, since the pandemic, everybody's kind of home. People aren't outside the way they were before the pandemic. People are kind of like, safe in their homes and people don't move around. There's not as many opportunities to meet people. There's not as many clubs and things like that. So it's hard. It's hard to meet people. Where you going to meet them at?
Yeah, that's my question. It's like, where are you even meeting that person? If you're looking to meet someone, where is,
Can I ask you a question? Sure. Both of y'all. If I have to go to school, right, and I go to college, let's say for 8 years, I got the highest level of credentials. Let's say I'm a PhD now, right? I'm a doctor. So do you think I'm going to take the lowest paying job when I come out of school? I'm going to take the highest paying job I can get.
You should take the highest.
That's why men going to take the highest value woman, because they worked hard to get the PhD. And when they build themselves up, they're going to look for the highest, sexiest woman they can possibly find. It's common sense. You had to build yourself up to that level. So they're not going to look for a lower value looking woman. If a man has to literally, she is more inclined to get a man on his way up than to find a man already established. She is more inclined. You can find a man on his way up.
Because he has so many options.
100%.
100%. If you just do the math, it's like, what's the ratio between men and women? It's probably something crazy. And then when you chop off employed men, then you chop off the men that are incarcerated, then you chop off the men that have alternative lifestyles, and then you start chopping off bozos and clowns, then what's the ratio then? What's the ratio then? The ratio is 1 to 50 maybe, And then you start talking about, now they want a man in the top 1% or the top 2%, and he got to make $100,000. He got to be 6 feet tall. He got to be, all these things. Y'all all looking for the same man pretty much.
Superficial and shallow.
It's like 500 people looking for the same person
100%.
who damn near don't exist. You know that.
But I think for a lot of men, you guys don't even want substance anymore. I think you just want physical. I think just the way you say women are chasing something, I think for men too. I think a lot of men are chasing the woman with the biggest breasts or the biggest butt or the best shape or the lighter skin. Or you hear a lot of men, you know, I only want to date a Spanish woman. I only want to date a this. So I feel like, again, it goes both ways, just differently. You get what I'm saying? I don't think it's just for women. Women want a man with money. Men want a woman that looks a certain way. So it's everyone wants something at the end of the day.
Agreed. But again, if you're going to trade your value, then you're going to go for the highest thing that you can get value-wise. If I know I had to work so hard to get the value, I'm not going to sleep with a average annoying woman. I'd rather deal with a beautiful annoying woman. I'm just being fair and honest. Again, there are things that beautiful women can get away with that an ugly woman can't get away with. There are things that a man with money can get away with that a broke man can't get away with. It's the same across the board. But again, we only see it when it's one way. Things that a broke man can get away with, a rich man can get away with. Things that a ugly girl can't get away with, a more attractive woman can. It's just what the laws of life is. I didn't create the rules. I just understand it.
And it's you know what I hate? I hate the narrative. Is like, yo, he grew up in the hood and he got money and he just started dating out of his race and things like that. I'm not here to celebrate men dating out of your race. If men want to date green, blue, purple, whatever you want to date. But the fact of the matter is this: you grew up in a certain area, right? Let's just use this as an example. You grew up in a certain area. Everybody in your area drives Honda Accords, Maximas, and I don't know, Toyotas. Right? Grow up in this neighborhood, pretty much everybody drive that. Now you go away to school, you get a good job, now you're making $200,000-$300,000 and you live in LA. And in LA, everybody's driving Jaguars and Ferraris and stuff like that. So are you not supposed to want to drive those things now? Are you supposed to still want to drive what you drove back in the hood? Why is it a crime to want to drive alternative things to what I've been raised on? Why is that a crime? So I use that example to say, if a man is a nerd or a geek or he wasn't the cutest kid in high school, then he leaves high school, he gets a nice job, he builds himself up, he gets Invisalign, and now he changed his market value where he doesn't have to just date the girls that were tolerating him in college. He could date whoever he wants. Why is that a black eye on him? Because he wants to date everybody now. You know what I mean? I don't understand that, and I don't know if women really factor that part in. I agree. When it comes to men.
I agree. Especially when he had to work his value. He had to earn his value, so he's going to choose what he wants.
Yeah.
It's like when you have money, when you on a budget, you eat at cheaper restaurants. When you don't have a budget, you eat where you want to eat.
And somebody just mentioned it's a crime because we see women of our own race as low value. I never used the word.
The way that people hear things, the way that people hear things,
ever use the word low value. I would never call a black woman a low value woman.
Dating market value.
My mother is a black woman.
My mother's also.
I would never call a woman. I would never refer to a woman as low value.
No one said that.
What I'm saying is diversity. I'm referring to the diversity. I'm referring to a man who probably wasn't able to date a 7, a 8, a 10, especially
didn't have no money.
Whether she was black, blue, purple, or green. But now that he's developed himself, now he can date a woman that's a 7, or 8, or 10. It's a difference. It's not about race.
Yeah.
It's about market value.
But I think that's how it sounded when you first said it.
I think that's how they take it.
I grew up in the hood with the regular black hood chicks, and now that I'm, Hondas and Nissans.
He may not like that.
Now that I'm just saying how it may have come off.
But the thing is, right? There are also bad Spanish chicks in the hood. You go to Dykeman, you go to Harlem, you go to places in you go to Lawrence, you go to different places, and there's dope, broke, hood chicks from other nationalities. It's not about race. It's all about your diversity. If you get to a certain, if you were 5'2" in high school with braces, and now you're 6'4" and you're diesel and your acne cleared up, you could date whoever you want to date. They're gonna
again, all it sounds like to me is y'all would struggle with a black woman.
One of my boys, he dated Spanish women. You know why he said that?
Why?
He said because he loved how they grew up with family structure. He said that's what he's more attracted to. See, you're getting mad at what his opinion is.
I'm not, because
but whatever her opinion is, it's a fact.
No, it's not saying my opinion is a fact, Q. Don't say that.
No, but you're rolling your eyes because of his preference.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to when you say they grew up with family structure, so black women did it.
I said he said again, He said he chooses Spanish women because they grow up with more Spanish people. They do have more family structure than us. And I'm gonna be honest with you, they've changed their financial status, improving it because they work together. It's just what it is. You can find black people that are very equivalent. But I will say in most cases, abuelas in their house. They work together. And I'm just saying what I see.
This is my thing, right? And I'm gonna keep it a buck. What I hate is when black people date outside of their race
And then belittle
and
other
they
people.
make an excuse
Yeah.
for why they don't date their race. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, because she argumentative
that.
and she don't know how to keep her mouth shut because she's black. She don't know how to keep her mouth shut. Like, and Spanish chicks don't be going crazy. Go online. Look at what they be. I mean, look at what they do. You know, people do what they do. I just saw a clip the other day where a white girl threw a brick through homie's front door. It ain't about race. You know what I'm saying? If you choose to date outside of your race, cool. But
don't belittle your culture.
Don't kick the back end of black women while you're doing it. If you want to go over there and say, I only date white
Agreed.
women, I only
Agreed.
date Spanish women.
Agreed.
That's cool. But just keep your mouth.
Thank you.
Keep it cute about black women.
I agree 100%.
That's my thing.
Because you can't say that, because that might have been like, again, if I go to Applebee's and I eat the steak and that's all I could afford, of course it's fire. But then you start making money and you start
Right.
you broaden your palate, you're like, whoa.
Right.
Well, I was eating this the whole time? Like I never, you know, I'm just saying, people have different tastes as they experience different experiences. For instance, I got guys that go to the military, they go to Germany, they go all these places. The last 7 years he was in Germany. He's dealt with nothing but German women. So chances are he's becoming more attracted because he's experiencing a different level of experience that he may not had when he was in the hood, or she never had. So I don't knock nobody that date out their culture, but like he said, if you saying it's because of something negative, you know, if you have a negative
I love
conversation,
how
it's
he
bad.
put it. I love what he
You know what I'm
said. It's just don't knock black women.
Correct.
That's all I'm saying.
Correct.
I
Don't do that.
I
Don't
don't
do that.
like it when it's one thing to say, listen, now that I have moved out of where I'm used to just one race and
Right.
now I'm going somewhere where it's multi-race, I could date outside. But I just don't like when the narrative spins where it's like, you know what? Oh, because black women are this and black women are that.
Nah,
Say
I
that.
don't-
Say
I
your
don't
palate
do- I
has
don't
changed.
do
Say,
that.
you know what? Now that I'm over here, I tend to kind of like these kind of women a little
Right.
bit more. That's
Right.
okay. But let's not put it on our backs. Like it's
Right.
our fault. Like
Right,
black women
right.
did something wrong.
Because you don't know all black women. Nobody
Yeah.
knows all black women.
It's
you know?
okay
You
to
know
like
there's
Ruth
something?
Chris because you don't like
I had
Applebee's
to-
no more, but don't knock
I had to
Applebee's.
check my I'm not even gonna say who because he gonna know. But I had to check his girlfriend the other day, and the reason why is because the other day she was talking down to him like extremely, and I had to stop her and I said, "Let me tell you something." She said, "What?" I said, "Does he disrespect you?" She goes, "No." And I said, "So why do you feel the need to go this extreme?" I said, "Do you catch him cheating?" She goes, "No." "Is he verbally abusive?" She goes, "No." I said, "But why do you feel the need to keep belittling him when you get upset?" And she said, "Well, my mom and dad do it." And I said, "But that's not your mom and dad." And secondly, I said, "This is your first boyfriend?" She said, "No, this is my second." I said, "How was your last experience?" She said, "He used to cheat all on me." I said, "So you treating him like the man you just left. And you brought that trauma over to this kid, and he hasn't done those things to you." One thing I do believe, whether male or female, y'all should work on yourself before going back into the dating world. I do believe that there are a lot of people who are hurt, bitter, and scorned, and they blame everybody for the decisions that they've made. One thing I see is a lot of men and women, they date people and then they're not accountable for the people they've chosen. You the one that slept with this person. You the one that chose this person. But when you can look at yourself, then you can project better. You can't fix it if you can't say it's every woman is bad. I'm like, no, it's the women you choosing that's bad.
You saw what somebody just said on there, Desi? She said, I've heard, I don't know if that's a male or female, said, I've heard so many Spanish women talk crazy, but they're labeled as spicy. Whenever Spanish women, and I've seen that as a thing on social media, when they talk about this one guy, and I think he was either white or Spanish, talking about how different race of women, how it's interpreted, our attitudes. When Spanish women are spicy and they talk, when they're crazy and they have attitudes and they're spicy. When black women do this, we got attitudes, we're ghetto, we're this. What's the difference? What's the difference in the race and how we talk? If you're talking down, it's talking down. Being negative is being negative.
I agree.
What's the difference
I
between a
agree.
Spanish
I
man
agree.
doing,
I agree.
Spanish
I agree.
woman doing it and a
100%.
black woman doing
100%.
it?
I agree with
The
you.
one thing I do say is like, I don't want to be with nobody, whether male, whether Mexican, Jamaican, any white. If you can't reserve your private life into your home and everyone has to see when we have a problem, then you're not made for a relationship. I think the sexiest thing is when you get into it with your woman and y'all wait till y'all get in the car and then you say, you know what? Now I'm gonna talk to you about it. I think that's what a man should do also. I think it's unhealthy when we out in public and we literally showing the world our dirty laundry. I think that's kind of crazy. I was on a flight one time. Yo, Drew, I was like, yo, this is crazy. They're fighting the whole fight. And the man, he's trying his best to stop. He's like, yo, chill. Like, she just dragging it and dragging it. Oh my God, bro. And I'm so embarrassed for him. I'll give you another scenario. Me and my girl we in a restaurant. I told you the story. The girl took the plate and threw it in his face. Threw it in his face. And then stormed out the restaurant. He was about to go run behind. I said, don't run behind that. You let that go, bro.
Can one of you guys answer my question, though? One of the 6 of you men. Why
I don't know. I don't know.
When a Spanish woman, just go after Desi said
I think that's weird.
Why is it that when another race has attitude, why are Spanish women labeled as spicy, but black women labeled as ghetto?
I think ignorant is ignorant.
Her attitude. I
think both is both.
Anybody? Not one of the 6 of y'all?
I think it's the same thing.
You do? I just want to hear a man just give his opinion.
You want to hear him defend it?
I just want to hear why. I just want to hear why.
So repeat that one more time. Because I've been in a lot
Someone
of
said, and I
situations
agree with
before.
her, I think her name was Des or Desi, said that Spanish women have attitudes too, but they're labeled as spicy. How is it? You've never heard that? Of course not. But when black women do, we have attitudes,
that's
we're
why
ghetto.
I said, when you look at certain, I'm going to say something, that's narcissistic. Again, if she says she don't know something, I got to eat it and be quiet about it. But when I don't align and agree with her, hold on, I ain't cut you off. I'm just saying, no.
Okay.
I heard ignorance is ignorance.
Okay.
I heard ratchet is ratchet. I heard ghetto is ghetto.
Okay, Q.
Like whether you black, white, or Spanish, ghetto is ghetto. I never heard spicy.
You never heard people say attitudes.
A Spanish woman I've never heard it.
I've never heard it in that correlation, right?
How did you heard it?
It's so crazy, ladies, when it's time for them to just agree with us and say, now they've never heard it. You've never heard black women being called ghetto and hood, and she got a nasty attitude, and that's why we don't date them, and that's why we don't this. But if a Spanish woman does it, or another, they're spicy, oh, she just crazy. White women, oh, they just crazy, but with us it's different. Y'all never, not one of the 6 of y'all ever heard that before? Never ever heard that before, Q?
Can I answer?
So,
can I answer?
I've heard the stereotype before. I've heard it before. So in the Marines, I was stationed in California. I've heard it plenty of times because there's nothing but Hispanic, Latinas, and Asian girls out there. And I spoke to black guys, my friends, white guys, my friends. They all say, oh yeah, Latinas are like, they're spicy. So I've heard it before. I'm going to answer your question, yes.
But you had an experience.
Not all of us think like that. I don't know the number. I don't know the ratio, but I've heard it before. But I don't want you getting emotional over that because not everybody thinks like that. Not everybody thinks like that. So, for example, if one of my friends thinks like that, that doesn't mean I think like that also. So I don't want you getting emotional and feeling like you're being attacked. Please, I don't want you to feel like that
it's not an attack. I'm saying just as a black woman, I'm a black woman. So I'm saying that we've heard that. That is a thing.
I never said it wasn't true.
I'm just asking as to why, how come we're labeled one way where we're ghetto, we just have attitudes, we're hood, we're this, but another race is just labeled as, oh, she's crazy or she just spicy, because still it doesn't really sound degrading. It doesn't sound like you're putting her down. She's so spicy, she's so crazy.
Why you feel like
but
that,
with us, we ratchet, we ghetto, we this, we that. I'm just asking.
I tell my sisters, I have 3 little sisters.
I've met all kind of ratchet. I met it all.
But it's not used to describe every race of women. That's what I'm saying. You're
see,
right. Ghetto is a word.
The way you explain
ratchet
that?
is a word, but it's not used to describe every woman. It's really used to describe black women when we have an attitude. So that's what I'm saying.
But the same way the N-word is thrown at us, right? When we act a certain way as men, right? When we act a certain way, when there's white N-words, there are Spanish N-words, an ignorant person is the N-word. But yet and still, as men, we're still labeled as N-words. So again, we've heard it all too, both sides. This always depict black people as bad or something negative as hell. Both ways.
So I've heard Latin women be referred to as spicy, but not in the correlation of relationship. Listen, in general, I haven't heard. It's not a situation where it's like we argue and she talks me crazy, but she's only spicy. It ain't that. Most times when and even with the whole ghetto, black women are ghetto and this and the other, most times it's people that aren't even black that are saying that about black women. So I take that with a grain of salt. Like if 4 white boys or Middle Eastern boys that never dealt with no black girls in their life say they don't deal with black girls because they're ghetto, then let them sit over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we ain't worried about that. It's when black men say, I don't deal with black girls because they're ghetto or whatever the case may be, but I'm gonna date a Spanish girl because she's spicy. I never heard
never
that.
heard that either.
I've never heard that.
Me either.
You know what I mean? I've heard Spanish women in a vacuum be described as spicy.
Yes.
But it wasn't versus black women being ghetto. Is what I'm getting
I've
at.
never
You
heard
know
it.
what I mean?
That's what I was trying to explain to you before you got all.
I mean, I'm gonna get all. I'm by myself
I'm just saying.
defending
No,
black
they ain't
women.
defending. You asked
I
the
mean,
question.
It is what you
I
call
said,
it. What
hold
you
on, hold
want.
on. I'm just saying. She asked the question. I said I never heard it used like that. I didn't. But what he just said, that's how I heard it used. Like, I ain't gonna front Spanish girls be spicy. I heard it like that. You know what I'm saying? But I never heard it where it was basically versus being ghetto. I never heard it like that. So again, am I wrong for not hearing it? Maybe I need to open my ears and go around more Spanish people. I don't know.
Maybe you do.
You know what I'm saying? But both of us do.
I guess. Listen.
I never heard it like
Whatever.
that. But
Heck
you
yeah.
say you have. And
Ghetto is
I'm
ghetto.
respecting what you're saying. But you asked the question, I said, nah, I hear
Go
it.
to the Bronx. There's some hood.
Oh, what?
Other. You might go
What?
to the Bronx and see some hood Asian chicks.
100%.
Out there, for all I know. You know, ghetto is ghetto.
You know,
Hood
when
is
you
hood.
when you have these discussions, a lot of times, you know, we tend to create whatever. Like I like one thing I do believe, and I'm just gonna be honest, I think social media has created so many delusional people. Yo, let's talk about this term. I hear people say, knowing your worth. I know what I'm worth, whether it's male or female. And it's scary because if I gotta tell you what I'm worth, then I'm usually not worth what I'm saying I'm worth. Because I don't have to tell you what I'm worth. My tolerance level will show you what I'm worth.
Right.
I don't tolerate ignorance. And second off, I'm not going to minimize who I am as a person to be acceptance of someone negative or poor behavior. I'm very tolerable of adult behavior. I don't justify adults acting like children. I don't believe in that at all. Once you grown, you act grown. In anger, you still act grown. You can't change grown no matter what. Once you grown, there's a consequence for being grown. A child can be reprimanded, but an adult should know better.
Right.
Adults they should know better.
Should know better, yeah.
They should know better. You know what I'm saying? So again, we have to have this conversation, but I do believe people in today's society are delusional with their expectations on what they want to come try to holler at them or what's entertaining them. It's scary. It's just what it is. Like the lady said the other day, you can have a man that's a level. I do believe that men date across the board and down. So if a man is a 3, he dates 2 and under, right? So more than likely he does that because he's insecure where he is and where he's at. I don't believe a man gonna get to a 10 and date a 1. I don't see that happening. You know what I'm saying? Unless she's extremely pretty. You know, I'm just calling it what it is. And I'm not saying that I fit that category, but I do a lot of men, that's how they think. And we can't change how they think. That's how they think. You know, it's just what it is. You know? But once you make certain, I just never saw somebody go to the dealership and I want the car with the highest miles on it. I've never seen nobody do that. I've never seen that. And that's how men view women. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying me, but I just never seen a man go to the dealership and say, I want a car with the highest miles on it.
Whoop they do.
I've never seen that.
We're getting off topic because now we're talking about the highest mileage. Like that. That's not what we were talking about.
She's saying you're so
nobody
rude.
wants someone that's slept around with. Of course not. Of course
No,
not.
but what I'm
You
trying
know
to say
I mean?
is a lot of times, even when you overly going out your way to get attention, men will perceive automatically that you've been around the block. It's just what it is. You looking for attention. They're gonna look at it like that's a Passover. Would you agree?
Ask that question again. Let me try to get my thoughts together on that question. Go ahead.
When you have a woman
Okay.
who's overly showing off her body
On
and-
social media.
Yes.
Okay.
in most cases, most men will perceive that she's been around.
Define over showing off her body. Because everybody got their meter, right? Everybody got their meter.
Me and you think the same.
Okay.
You know
okay.
what I'm talking about.
Okay. So you're saying if she's on if she's online and every shit is a titting ass video, whatever the case may be, is it assumed that she's fast or she's loose?
Yes. Someone said I agree as a female. You know,
I think she's shopping. I think she's she's shopping. She campaigning. I think she's campaigning. She's trying to find somebody that for real. I think she campaigning.
That's a good one.
Real talk. I think she campaigning. She's trying to get somebody to be like, what shoe size you wear? Because that's a new shit in the DMs.
But how come when regular women
where you
do
wanna
it,
go?
when regular women do it, it's a problem. But if y'all see these influencers or these celebrities do it, she's sexy. She's, how come
because
it's
there's
different?
different levels of what you're looking for. Like there are those women are more likely. Those women that they call influencers, a lot of them don't be married. A lot of them be like pass arounds. Yet and still, why would a woman who looks at herself as a woman act like a pass around and want to be looked at as a woman? That don't make sense. You want to be respected as a woman, but you want to be looked at as a pass around. That don't make sense to me. You standing too close to the hoes, you're gonna be looked at as a hoe.
I feel like the girls that do that, they're looking for a certain brand of man. You know what I mean? So when you see those, you already know that, you know, because it usually comes with vacation pictures, naked vacation. She's in the beach with the see-through. She's on the beach with the see-through canoe.
Yep.
She's showing her bags.
Not the see-through canoe.
The see-through canoe.
I can tell you where that's at too.
Right. And then she might flip to her unboxing some gifts. Then she might flip to then she might flip to then she might add in a little post that says, don't ask me what you're doing, ask me where we going, or some
Yes.
like there's a stereotype to it. There's some whole formula to it.
You be on here trolling.
We see it.
You
We
know,
see it.
like if you're around,
funny.
you know it, right? So that brand of woman is looking for a certain brand of man. That may not be anyone in this room.
Yes.
So you just disregard it, you know. But the guys that
you don't want to apply, let it flow.
Right. The dudes that do love that, they gonna jump in the joint and they can be like, where you ain't never went to, or where can I send a flight to? I literally know guys that's how they play. You know what I mean? Especially when cards was hitting. Like when cards was Shazamming,
Yeah.
that's how they play.
But
you know
again,
what I mean?
he outside, but a lot of people don't know what he do for a living. But based on what he do for a living, he knows we outside.
Yes.
And the reality is,
Thank you.
a lot of those girls that you see that's influencers and they show off their body and stuff a lot, they're prostitutes. And that's what a lot of people don't know. They sell their vagina. Yes. See, that's what you don't know. Yo, look, I had the hottest nightclub in New York City at one point, right? The hottest. All them influencers, we paid them to come in, they looking for a John. I seen it 1,000,000 times. Those girls that's flying all over the world, it's not their money. They're with a guy they don't want to show money.
I would even go further. I'll go one further, right? I don't think most women even want a relationship, right? They just want help. They just want help.
What? Help
Yeah.
like what?
I'm out of
I
this
think
one.
most
That's
women.
happening.
I think
I'm running.
most women don't want a relationship. They don't want to deal with the heartache of a man. They don't want to deal with a man cheating on them. They don't want to deal with having to go through a man's phone. They don't want to go through the nonsense of the man. But they might need help. We live in New York City, you know what I'm saying, or and all the big cities. So they might need help,
Women just want their bills paid?
and they not too proud to barter some box for it.
Damn.
That's what it comes
Yeah, I
down to.
disagree.
You know what just came out the other day about
Women
that?
want to be in relationship, guys. I don't know if you know that. Women,
They wanna be in
we want to
relationships.
be in a
Don't attack
relationship.
me.
Y'all want
We
to
do.
be in relationships
Attack
with
me.
good men, right?
Getting help as well, but we
Correct.
want to be in
Anything
a
I say?
relationship. That sounds
Choose
crazy.
this.
So y'all
You-
want to be in relationships with good men, right? But I think a lot of women have come to the reality that good men are very, very hard to find. So in the meantime and in between time, I might as well find a man with a bag who would at least put
Sponsor.
some bread on it.
can
You know
see
what I
that.
mean? We living in dog days. You know, we got Trump, we got this, we got that, we got wars going on. Bills is hard to pay nowadays. So if a chick says, you know what,
PPP money ain't outside.
if a chick look
It'll
around
never
and
be
say,
that serious to me. I worked 10 jobs before. That's what it's hitting for.
I hear you.
And I do
Yeah.
respect that about you.
I hear
And
you.
I will
worked
say
10
I agree
jobs
with
before.
you.
That's what it's hitting for. And I think
hear
a lot
you.
of women on here would do the same. I don't
what they
think
say.
women. I think women do
Believe
want
you me, there's
relationships. Women
EPZ
want
girls
that.
on here too.
We love commitment. We want that commitment.
I hope you know
women
that.
want marriage. We want all of that. Like
Listen, just so
I
you
don't
know.
know what women y'all
don't hear
talking
that.
about, but
There are women right now who talk about they're independent and they living on social services.
wow, wow.
Like, come on.
Wow.
okay,
Let's not lie.
Is diabolical.
Like, come on.
okay. But what?
I ain't gonna say what
Even
she
if
is.
she on social service, okay, she not out
So you're
here-
not independent.
She not selling box. So whatever it is, she not depending on you.
That's
So
not
whatever it is for her.
independent. You are dependent when I'm a taxpayer. Where the money come from? Where do social services money come from?
Okay, now we going to social
No.
services. I don't even
She
know
just
what's
said a
happening.
statement.
Even know what's happening.
If you who funds the police? Who funds the fire department? Who funds the guard department? Taxpayers. Who funds the girl that stays at home and do nothing with her life? Taxpayers.
Keep it real.
What are you talking
A lot
about?
of them don't want a relationship. They just need help. They just want a little help. And they'll take it whatever way they can get and give whatever they got to give to get it. Like, keep it real. Keep it real.
I think most of them are like that these days.
Keep it real.
I do believe that. Say it again.
I said we could take it a little step further. Most women in my generation from like 22 to 30, they bums.
Why do you say
that? They don't have jobs and they're always needing a man to do something for them, do this, do that, fly them out, pay for this, didn't do that. Where's your money?
I believe that a lot of them are That's the issue. Like, we could always acknowledge that when the father's not there, the issues that the man has, and more than likely he's more feminine. But we can't acknowledge that when a woman don't have the dad, a lot of times they look for that from the man to be the daddy figure. So it's both ways that you see the trauma from both sides of the coin that we become because of not having that energy in the house. You see what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna lie, growing up, the easiest girls I was asleep was the ones that had daddy issues. They were the easiest to sleep with. And anybody gonna tell the truth, I'm lying? The girls that had a lot of daddy, they was easy to sleep with.
Yes.
And it's sad that as a younger guy, but again, you telling your experience, I'm wrong. But the girls that had those issues is because they were very codependent on the love and affection from a man. So again, now at my older age, I would never do that. I didn't know that's what it was back then. But knowing as an adult, I know better now. When you know better, you do better. But again, I'm not gonna take advantage of a woman that has mommy or daddy issues. I'm not doing that. But when you're younger, you do because you don't know no better.
What do you say about a man who has mommy issues or daddy issues?
I think he needs to work on himself. I think I can give you some.
Needs to work on
No, I can give you some things. For instance, I grew up without my father. So I had daddy issues growing up.
Okay.
Right? And I've worked on myself to the point where I can identify and also work on my issues. The issue with now, I see with my son didn't grow up with his mother. I raised him by myself. So a lot of time when I'm a single mother, I've been a single mother, and I come from a single mother and I've been a single father. So my son, I see the fact that he's very emotionally codependent on relationships. A lot of times when they don't have that motherly love, they look for it from a relationship. And he's very tolerable of disrespect because of he wants that affection. And until he acknowledges, there's nothing I can do to fix him. There's nothing I can do to fix him. I can say it 150 times, but in reality, he has to identify this to be a problem. There are men who are very codependent on women that have mommy issues. And I've seen that with my own two eyes also, where they feel like they're supposed to be able to play video games all day, and you're supposed to pay all the bills. I know guys who drive their girls' cars, and they think they're the man. But when you look back at that, there's a lot of underlying issues. But what's scary is I can find women who come from both parents and still feel like a man is supposed to provide everything. You see, that's an issue within itself. Like you shouldn't see each other as a paycheck, or we should be looking at each other as partners and building. But again, it's a mentality that you're just seeing as being indoctrinated culture. I do believe that a lot of hoes is teaching good women how to be hoes, and they think they're good girls. I'm like, you've been taught by a hoe how to be a hoe, and you think like a hoe. Because you measure a man's pockets based on how much he can love, respect, appreciate you, be loyal to you, be there for you. You don't care about that. You care about how deep his wallet is. And a lot of hoes taught them that. It's just what it is. And the Johns taught the men how to trick on girls. These hoes and Johns out
there are a lot
here.
of bum men that are teaching their sons to be bum and be dependent on women just the same way.
You think,
It goes both ways.
There are men that are like that.
I don't care. That's a fact.
Because
It
all
goes
you gotta
both
do is
ways.
see it. If you see his dad laying off his
Yeah.
mother, there you go. He's sitting there watching his dad live off his mom. You ain't gotta say nothing. Your actions speak louder than your words. It's just what it is. My son ain't allowed to go. We ain't doing that. I don't even believe a man should move in a woman's place. But that's also my culture. I don't believe that a man's supposed to move into a woman's place.
And women don't move in their place either. Get your own too.
That is diabolical.
I don't care. It's the same. If he doesn't believe that a man should move into a woman's place, then why should we do the same? Why can't we just come together, get a place together? Guess what? You
If
have
that's
your
your
place.
preference-
I have
if that's
my
your
place.
preference, it's okay.
Let's get a place together
If it's your
so
preference, it's
nobody's
okay.
talking
If
ish
it's
to
your
each
preference,
other.
it's okay.
So you don't feel like a woman is belittling you by telling you to get out, and a woman may not feel like, well, you know what? Let's come
fair.
together and get.
That's
What's
fair.
wrong
It's
with
fair.
that?
It's fair.
That's fair.
What's wrong with that?
It's
Let's
fair.
everybody
It's
have their.
That's
Let's
fair.
get our own place
It's
together.
fair.
So what you for? That's a fact.
That's fair.
Let's get our own place. So
But
it's no
what
argument.
she said, I could see is fair. If she wants her balance and her security by knowing that she added to help build this, she has a right. She has a right. Some people want to go on a championship team and win a chip. Some people want to go on a championship team and actually add value to the chip. And so it's all about the person and perception. So I get what you're saying. I agree with you. But me personally, I do believe that more men can buy a place and move a woman in and make her feel like she helped them do it than women can do that. I'm just saying from my experience. I gotta say that again, from my experience. You agree with that?
You mean without alienating
Yes.
the other person?
Yes.
So you're saying if a woman buys a house and moves the guy in, she gonna drag him. But a man will move a woman in. And
I think there are men that
he'll
do
play
that
fair.
too, though. There are men that do it, but more men will take a woman, move her in, and accept it.
I think it's the understanding that that's what we're supposed to do.
Agreed.
That's the
You're taught that.
order. To me, that's what the natural order should be.
Yeah.
So when the order is disrupted, then a woman is like, I had to move him into my house, and every chance she gets, she might, when they get into argument, it's my house, it's my bills, my
Yeah.
this, my that.
You live with me.
He's always going to be a little bit insecure about the situation.
because they're gonna hit it with the let's be honest. There you go. It's lit. I got more female cousins than I got male cousins. And believe you me, I heard 1,000 times. Any little thing they did for their man, I heard it. I'm like, this is scary. It always made me know, we don't do that. We don't do that. Don't put yourself in that position. You know what I'm saying? Because again, and if you do put yourself in that position, man, I would hope that you got a game plan and a strategy on how to elevate your family out of that situation. But you shouldn't go there and feel like you king wee in her space. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. She took a sock drawer and gave you, her panty drawer. She gave you a panty drawer. She moved some of her stuff over in the closet. And I could never do that. You know what I'm saying? But again, to each his own. Some men be like, they drive their girl car with the pink steering wheel and they feel like they're the man. But I bet you sit down with him, that man got issues.
But I guess the question I got for both of y'all, right? Like, moving forward, we know the trajectory right now. We know that women are doing a lot better, and they're doing a lot more to be a lot better at this point. And there's going to be a point where women are probably going to make a lot more than the average man. How do we plan on overcoming that in a relationship format? Like, it's already, like you already said, it's already bad enough for a man to meet a woman and for them to live happily ever after. Now that we have the financial component growing, or the financial gap growing, what are you guys' suggestion or advice for people who are looking for relationships?
Go ahead, Q.
I'm waiting for you.
When you say in terms of looking for a relationship, if the
Correct.
woman is making more, I'm trying to just understand your
All right,
question a little better.
I'm going to give you an example, right?
Okay.
You got some nieces or whatever, right?
Okay.
They just graduated college. They got their advanced degrees. They getting money. It's about 5-6 of them. They hang together. They make about 140 each, right? They're single.
Okay.
They're getting to the point where they're going to be 27, 28. The biological clock is starting to tick. They want to get married. They want to have kids, so on and so forth. Your advice to them as far as their approach to possibly meeting men that are not on their level as of yet. How would you suggest they deal with that? How would you suggest they navigate that?
I mean, I feel like it's okay if you're making more than a guy. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with a woman who has her degree. I have my degree. I don't see anything wrong with a woman who has a good job, and you meet someone. I don't look at someone based off of what they make. I mean, I do want a man, you want someone to have ambition, who has goals, who has a path, who has some kind of direction, but he doesn't need to match me. It doesn't mean if I'm making 140, he needs to make 140 and above. If I have a degree, he needs to have a degree. But what is your game plan? Are you executing that plan? Are you working? Are you able to contribute if we're, in doing things together? That's just how I feel. I don't think that it has to be based off of we need to be in the same income bracket, because most people aren't. Like Q always says, the average man makes what? Less than $60,000?
Same with the black woman.
So it's to find someone to make 140 just like you, it's not ideal. You know what I mean? It's not realistic. So you're gonna, some way, somehow, we're gonna have to go down in terms of, it's just.
So would you tell your niece, for example, say it was your niece or whatever, would you say to her, if you meet a man, give him some time to mature? Or would you be like, girl, you better look for a man to make 150? What would your advice be? What would your definitive advice be?
At 20-something, yes. At 20-something, I feel like, you know what? Depending on what you went to school for, I mean, you have nurses now that are graduating college, making over 100,000.
Yes.
But then you have, most jobs aren't like that. Someone graduated with a degree in psychology. You can't get a job with a bachelor's in psychology. You have to get a master's.
Right.
So what if this man is working on something better? Give him some time. But there has to be, what is the time? You know what I mean? Now, that's the 20s. In the 30s, I'm 40. I'm not dating potential anymore, but that's just me.
Right.
That's just who I am. I'm not just doing potential. If I'm coming into it and I'm throwing this in a pot, you need to have something to throw in the pot. So we need this pot to boil. I can't just have the pot just staying stagnant.
Right.
But in the 20s, you
don't have 4 or 5 years to watch him cook.
I don't.
Right.
That's my opinion. In the 20s, we can deal with potential because things take time. And like you said, this economy is crazy. A lot of things are crazy now. We're not just out here, I need him to this, that. It may not happen in your 20s. Even in your early 30s, you could wait. But at some point, like, okay, what are we doing? My opinion.
You know what's scary, right? When you talk about finance,
my opinion,
4 to 8% of black people make over $100,000 a year. It's a very small percentage.
Yeah.
I watch people online, like they talk about 100,000 like it's nothing. But in reality, about 92% of people don't make that kind of money. But yet and still, everyone is constantly talking. You ever watch Pop the Balloon? And every person on there has businesses and they all got all of these things going on. It's like, it's so superficial and shallow that people believe that they gotta sell. But if I have a niece, and I'm going through this, it's funny you say this story. I got a little cousin that's actually a lawyer.
You did tell me
And
that.
she's 33 going on 34, and she's been in the dating world. And when she stepped into the dating world, she automatically had an assumption that because I built my value up, that the highest value man is gonna see me. And I said, I disagree with that statement. And the sad part about talking to some women these days, and I said some, is they think they know men better than men. And when you asking a man for advice, but you're not ready to receive how men think, then you shouldn't even ask a man advice. So I'm telling her, you might not ever get that, because once you start making a high level of money, you might be the predominant provider of the house. I said, what you should understand is being strong and feminine is what you should still ideally be. Because if that's your partner, no matter what you make, as long as he's not leeching, as long as he's bringing to the team and he's adding value there, it's just what it is. I said, you shouldn't look down or frown upon him because he's not earning. She dated one guy and he madly in love with her. I'm talking about he's madly in love with her. To the point I knew he wanted to marry her because he actually pulled me up and asked me how should he propose to her and everything. And they dated for about 9 months. And she said to him, he started asking about the ring. Right in front of me one day, she goes, I hope you're not getting no ring until you step your money game up. And when I looked at her, right, and I said to her, why have we become a culture who has literally put money over humans? And then when you get all the money in the world, you realize how still unhappy you are. People that hurt themselves the most are higher in people that are wealthier than not. Because money doesn't mean happiness. But again, I'm sitting here telling her, like, look, you have to be mindful that this guy loves you, he cares about you. And then I'm gonna tell you, she breaks up with him. She ends up dating another guy in the same exact profession as her. She said every time she's around this guy, she feel like she's not seen. But the other guy loved her for her. He wanted to hear about her day. But again, she didn't see him because of his finance. So I said to her, now the chances of you finding maybe another him might get a little slimmer. I said, now, you're gonna start doing something called the process of elimination. You might not get another guy like that. He loved you for you. And I said, as your cousin, I would have seconded that marriage. But again, now she's like, but we in a culture where we're teaching our young men and ladies wrong. We're teaching young men to chase women. They shouldn't look for a woman until they got their life together. And secondly, when a man has his life together, he is more inclined to look for something more yoked at that level, opposed to settling when he's not at the level. Think about the girls you used to hit when you was broke. Think about the girls you hit when you wasn't broke. You see what I'm trying to say? You don't look at the things the same when you level up. So I always tell men, don't get the baby mamas, don't get the poor girls, don't get the empathetic situations, because that's where you feel you are. So wait till you build yourself up. You won't even look at certain girls. There's certain girls that could walk past me naked. I don't even see them because I know that's a headache. I can see it a mile away. But that comes with maturity, that comes with experience, that comes with knowing yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's how when you build. But again, I told her the same breath, I said, you have to be mindful that a grown-up is a person that can take care of himself. When you measure an adult based on your standard, you already got a problem within itself. You have your own car, you have your own food, you can provide your own roof over your shelter over your own head. It might not be the biggest house in the world, but that don't make a person little or bigger because you want a big old house. That's what I think what social media has done to people. It makes people, like I said, comparison is the thief of joy. People are not joyful where they at because they watching other people's lens too much. So again, she's not thinking, this guy loves me. He appreciates me. She come home from long days, he's willing to give her a massage. He's a good dude. But he's very into his woman, but he also comes from a husband and wife that were married. He learned that from them, being attentive. And he said on top of it, my dad wasn't attentive, so he worked on being attentive. Right. So he's gonna make some woman, he gonna wow some woman one day if he don't got one already. You know, because I haven't checked on him, but I need to. But I'm just saying.
She never spin back to check on him.
He said he don't want to because
he don't want to.
No, because when they were breaking up, the thing she said she said some things that was a little much.
And an attentive man is very hard to find because I also feel like the more money a man makes, the less quality time he's going to get to spend with you because he's out there making money. So I feel like sometimes, you know, we got to find a balance. But that's sad.
But what you said, that balance thing, that's it's like it's a trade-off. Everything comes with a trade.
Yeah.
Like I was always into like fit girls. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. The fit girls, they be having the big butts, they ain't got no breasts.
Oh,
I like runners. I like runners. Want to talk about runners?
Athletic. You want
Like very athletic fit girls.
Okay.
Like athletic girls.
I'm about to say this shit about to go crazy.
I was like,
they about to go
finish my point.
crazy.
The runner girls, that used to be my type.
Right.
I like girls, and they usually have small breasts, big butt, big hips. That was my type growing up. So again, until I got older, I realized like, yo, it's not about looks. It's about more mentality. It's, are you all in with me? I know some people right now that got high earning men and they ain't even all in with him. And the girl think he is, but he ain't. He's actually waiting for the one he's looking for.
Right.
I see it a lot. And you know, my profession, I hate that I talk to and interact with so many different men because I see it in its rawest form. Its rawest form. I see it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I think anybody that does anything with hair, they got to experience as much as therapists, bro.
Because they speak to so many people on a
They
daily
talk to
basis.
so many people. Bartenders too is another one.
Yes.
Bartender talk to a lot of people. A lot. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. But again, I think that social media has actually taught us how to not be cooperative. And cooperative is looked at as a negative thing. And I'm like, yo, knowing how to talk to somebody, I would never disrespect them because I appreciate our friendship. I would never disrespect you. I appreciate our friendship. Regardless of how you do it, don't make me feel. I'm like, you know what, she having a moment. I'm gonna let her, I'm not gonna even go there with her. Because again, you might be having a moment. But I think social media has made everything about me. Everything is me. And I want this and I want that. And that's why we down as a culture.
This,
yes.
I deserve this and I deserve that.
And that's usually narcissism, bro.
That's another thing that you know I've heard a lot. I deserve a good man. I deserve this. I deserve that. Based on what? Yeah. Like based on what we, you know, what does that entail? Deserving a good
I'm curious
man?
too. What is it?
I think some people don't even know what they're saying when they say that. When people say they deserve, I don't think anyone is deserving of anything. Right. You know what I mean? But I think sometimes that's just talk. I deserve. I don't know if people really realize what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? But like I said before, I think everyone's idea of a good relationship is to them, is to what they have. I don't think it's fair for me to speak on Q's relationship or your relationship or for you guys to speak on mine. People know. Someone said happiness is temporary.
Wow.
I do believe that. I believe that relationships do take a lot of work. Marriages take a lot of work. But I think I do believe that sometimes some people just aren't meant to be, and that's okay too. I preach that all the time, that sometimes if you realize that a situation is draining you more than it's giving you peace, then maybe it's time for you guys to separate, especially when there are children involved, because I think that it can create a toxic space for the kids. Yes, it's ideal to have a parent household for the kids. I think, kids just thrive better in that. But if you don't have peace in your home, then you don't have anything, because it's I don't know. I just think that's the foundation of everything.
So you believe that happiness is a temporary thing?
Well, someone said on your, I don't think people are happy all the time. No, I think that sometimes in relationships, you have your good and your bad days. But I feel like mental health is something that we don't discuss a lot. And I think that for men and women, I can only speak from a woman's perspective because I'm a woman. I can't speak from a man's perspective. But I feel like having peace in your home is the biggest thing. We live in these homes that are just like, it's nonstop arguing, and people say, oh, but it's better to have two parents. Why? If the kids are only seeing you guys fight, then what's the difference between them having two parents that's at each other's throats all the time, or two parents that separate where they see love from dad and they see love from mom? Because sometimes people just don't get along. You're not happy anymore. The woman's not bringing the man peace. The man's not bringing the woman peace. Why stay somewhere where you're not appreciated or valued just to say, I'm married, my husband, my wife? Like at that point, let's just go our separate ways and we'll figure out how to I think it's better to be cordial and be amicable than to sit there and pretend. Yes. People like to pretend,
But I do believe that with the times that we're in now in social media, I do believe that people have lost that gene where I'm going to stay and work it out. more people have that flight rather than fight mode. And you see it more and more, and it's being bred by social media because everyone believes, again, there's something out there for them. And a lot of times when people be like, well, I'm not looking for nothing, they're the first people right in somebody else's bed. Men and women. Men and women, bro. They right in somebody else's bed. They break up and right in somebody else's bed. Because I'm being honest.
What's the saying? The best way to get over somebody is to
get under somebody
else.
Yep. And again, when you say things like that, it's like, damn, I'm like, but the reality is, our grandparents' relationships last long because they had that gene where it was like, when they said for better, for worse, they meant for better, for worse. When we said it, we said for better, and we didn't agree to for worse.
And also in that time, self-sufficiency wasn't a thing. It was the family structure, and remember, women weren't allowed to vote or work for a number of years.
Yes.
So, there's time, like you hear stories, I hear stories about my grandfather and stuff like that, where he might have had this woman over here, that woman over there, whatever the case may be. And I hear even my Spanish, my homies that are Spanish, their grandfather left for a year and had another family and did this and did that. That's the kind of how it was in those ways. I know a lot of people on the chat could probably attest to those types of stories. But the women, a lot of times the marriage stayed together because the woman couldn't leave. She didn't have the means to leave. I agree. The dad left her with 4 or 5 kids. Where's she gonna go? She can't leave.
No job, no money, nothing.
Right. Now you got educated women who, they could afford to buy a condo on their own. They could afford to, whatever the case may be. So that's gonna affect the divorce rate. But I think as things get more expensive and things get more uncertain and economically, I think we're gonna go back to people staying based on money as well.
What you wanna know the scary thing is? And I'm being fair, and every time we look it up, I prove it. You see the success rate of the single parents is not good, bro.
It's not.
Especially single women, I'm sorry. The statistics is bad. They're horrible. Like, you look at mental health, you look at homelessness, you look at low educations, you look at, it's across the board. It's horrible. And I do believe that the one thing I had to learn is to stop the flight mode, because I come from a single mother. So I had to learn that every situation ain't a flight mode. Because when you come from broken, you're more inclined to create broken. So that's why you see, if we're in the 70 percentile of single parents, you got 70% of people in the dating pool come from broken situations. So the reality is, those 70 percentile, they might catch somebody that come from marriage. And then they're willing to break up because they never had that marriage long term. So reality is, they don't understand it, they don't appreciate it, they don't respect it.
Right.
And then there's some people that says, you know what? I grew up without it. I see my traumas from it. I refuse to allow my children to experience the same experience. Somebody has to break it. Because again, I feel scary that people think that the biggest commitment is getting married, and they don't think the biggest commitment is making a child. I think that is scary as hell that people think like that. I think having a child is the biggest commitment that 2 humans can do. Because again, you got to deal with each other forever, no matter what. That should be more your partner, because you're partnering raising a child. I could break up with a woman today, even though we're married, right? I can break up legally. But again, my child, I cannot break up unless you're a horrible parent. So people look at, I will have a child with you, but I'll go raise a kid by myself. That's kind of scary, man. We in these kind of times, I'm scared. I'm scared of those times. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Anybody got anything before we get out of here today?
Just to that point, it's just a mixed basket, man. Like, I don't recommend anybody stay together for any superficial, pretentious reasons. Not because you want to look good for social media, not because you don't want the kid to be raised without both parents, because like you were saying, sometimes you keep both parents and they at each other's heads, so they're showing you a toxic culture of relationship. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where they could leave and they could coexist and you still have love from both. So I don't think it's one size fits all. I think it's case by case.
You got anything?
I would like for us to stop being men versus women, male versus female. Just want to find ways that we could just come together, guys, and, just be better together as a union. And I just think we'd be a better force if we're not fighting against each other. So stop it, Q.
I will say this, and I'm going to say this, and I would like that anytime a man voices his opinion and his experience, women are more receptive and don't take it as an attack. I feel like that's what a true problem is within itself. I'm entitled to have my opinion, my feelings, and if they don't align with you, only narcissists will stop me from feeling what I feel in my experience.
Are you speaking to me or just speaking out loud?
I'm speaking out loud.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. So again, if I'm speaking correctly, when people, whether men, they have their opinion about women, listen, if the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. But in the same breath, let's call out the ones that are. For the good men out here, and I just want to say this too, if you're a good man, you're a good father, I think all the young men and women out here, we need to learn how to be more greater examples for these young people. Because I do believe that there are a lot of people right now who don't have great examples. Me, I village a whole town of young men. I village a whole community of young men because I realize they don't have great examples. I have friends and people I deal with on a day-to-day who don't understand as men you should have emotions and being able to express your emotions. I do believe that a lot of men are scared to express their emotions because society has definitely hurt these men to the point where they're scared to be vulnerable. And if they're vulnerable, they're weak. And it's scared to be held to that standard because it's like, I don't feel, but when I'm behind closed doors, I'm feeling. So I do believe that we got to get these toxic behaviors and this toxic mentality out of here. And ladies, if a man is comfortable being vulnerable just because he loves you and trusts you, don't use his trust as a means of attacking, right? So again, we're going to say this before we get out of here today. I'm not attacking women, but I will tell my truth. And again, if a person can't take it, hit dogs holler. Till next time, don't let that go over your head.